It's WrestleMania Night 2, and we are live on the Boom Broadcasting YouTube channel. I'm Michael Davis, the Prez of Boom Broadcasting, as all these guys like to call me. I host Out of Pocket. I host Drop the Mic Wrestling Podcast. Now, you guys might have been following us throughout the entire week for our content for WrestleMania season, and it was absolutely crazy last night as we were kicking off WrestleMania weekend together. It was me, myself, Cody Johnson from Drew Code Sports Talk. He's also streaming this on his YouTube channel. Shawn Lucas, the host of Wrestling of Destiny on Saturday mornings. He dropped his WrestleMania predictions yesterday before WrestleMania, and we had Mouthing Off with Mike, and we still have access to the Mouthing Off with Mike Twitter. So you know where you usually watch the nightcap, you can now watch the pre-show, the kickoff for WrestleMania right here on Boom Broadcasting. And yesterday we had a great time. We were streaming a couple hours. Our goal for you guys is to just have a fun time. It's WrestleMania season. This is the best time for a wrestling fan, and that's what we're going to do today. So again, joining me is Cody from Drew Code Sports Talk, Shawn from Wrestling of Destiny, and then I told him last night on the stream, like, hey, if you want to hop in Sunday, and then he immediately hit up my line, and he probably hung up a few Ravens jerseys behind him. And I promise we may or may not be getting a funeral for Drew McIntyre tonight, but we might have one for CM Punk, or at least his friendship. And we'll talk about that tonight. We got Wayne joining us here. Guys, how we ran the show yesterday, we had just 2 hours to cover whatever was happening last night for Saturday, preview and everything. We did our predictions, and we'll save our predictions for night 2 at the very end of this stream while we're live on these 4 different platforms. But I did want to take some time, since we didn't have a nightcap. Mouthing Off with Mike's enjoying himself in Vegas. I did have to bring up whatever happened in night 1. So we'll do a little bit of a recap of what WrestleMania Saturday was. And so I do want to hear from these guys what they thought. And was it good? Was it bad? How did you come away from night 1? And since Wayne's joined us for the first time this weekend, Wayne, I'll ask you, because you had to go back and rewatch, right?
I did, yeah. I was stuck at work last night. Listen, I got a 14-year-old daughter that loves wrestling, and she messages me everything that happens in real time. She was watching with my wife, so I'm just thrilled that she was having a good time. I knew everything that was happening in real time anyways, but when I got home, I was able to catch the main event, which is one of the best matches we've seen all year. An absolute blast. And then we watched the Tiffy and Charlotte match, and then today I watched everything back over. But yeah, I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay, 7 out of 10. Not bad for a WrestleMania. Shawn, what's your takeaway from WrestleMania Night 1 on a scale of 1 to 10?
You know, when you watch it live, and then you watch it live from the fan point of view. A lot of things I was putting in the group text, putting on Twitter last night, of things I didn't like. Ray Phoenix getting beat out by El America Grande. But then you go back, like Wayne said, you watch it again today from the analyst point of view of why these things were done. I give it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a very good show, very orchestrated show. I still went back and watched the Tiffany and Charlotte match again. I still think that match was just maybe 10 minutes too long of what I expected. But 8 out of 10, I was good with it. And even when I said El America Grande beating Ray Phoenix last night was a bad call, going back watching it again today, it was a good call because it progresses on the storyline for him as he continues to take out all these luchadors, setting up that match for him and Filter. 8 out of 10, great show.
8 out of 10. So Wayne's got a 7. Shawn's got an 8. Before we see if Cody's going to up it to 9, you guys can comment, and that's why we are live streaming right now before WrestleMania. And Jason Colenso, the host of 3 from Deep, 3 times a week, and Wayne's co-host for Sideline Savants, a fantasy football show, saying, I'm going to try not to butcher this, but Boomomania. Let's go.
Good shot. Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, I don't want you guys to rate that out of 10 because I want to be in a good mood. But Drew Code Sports Talk, welcome to the show. Subscribe now to be a part of the Boom Broadcasting fam. So we're streaming on both Boom Broadcasting and Drew Code Sports Talk's YouTube channels. We never do this. We never stream on two different YouTube platforms, but we saw the great response from both audiences yesterday, and Cody and I were like, let's do it again. Let's run it back. So I'm super excited to have Cody from Drew Code Sports Talk on. Not only does he do a lot on his channel that you should subscribe to, but he does a lot for Boom, and he does a lot for just being a friend. So he deserves his flowers. Cody, are you giving the same flowers to WrestleMania this year?
You know what? I would say my score is probably closer to Wayne's on the 7 scale than it is the 8. However, I do want to say that triple threat at the end, the main event, was a 10 out of 10. Probably one of the best triple threats, like I said yesterday, that we were ever going to see. And it lived up to expectations, and it was fantastic. But I will say there were some matches, just as Shawn had pointed out, that were on the card that probably went longer than they should. But I thought ultimately it was like good quality stuff, very interesting. And, you know, I'm very curious to see how night 2 goes, which we'll get into later on, to see if night 2 can elevate and be better than night 1. But I'm very, very curious because there's a lot of great matches coming up tonight, and very curious to see if night 2 can top it.
I'm very curious to see how everything goes. And we're going to briefly run through some of these matches from night 1, because I feel like you do need to acknowledge some of these, including how we started Gunther, Jey Uso. We started with Yeet Mania, or whatever you want to call it, because Jey Uso won the World Heavyweight title. A lot of us expected it. Shawn, sorry, you were the lone wolf who got it wrong. But I was shocked the way this ended.
Yeah.
For Gunther to tap to his own submission hold. Shawn, you were all for Gunther winning. Was it the right call for not only for him to lose, but for him to tap out to his own move?
Absolutely not, Mike. And what they did last night, you did two things. Number one, we all knew Jey was a star. Now you made him even a mega star by doing that, having Gunther tap so quick. But now, if Gunther's not going to have time off TV where we don't see him for about a month or two, 60, 90 days, 3 months at the most, if he's not going to be on TV, you just destroyed what you built into him being a serious heel champ or being a heel contender for any title on WWE by having him tap that quick. You know, like the guys booking like a Mark always do, they go back and rebook shows. If I was rebooking this, I would have never made Gunther tap. I would let Gunther pass out and fall asleep in the hole, drop the arm 3 times, Jey wins, and you got something to build on saying Gunther was that much strong that he would not tap no matter how deep Jey had this sleeper on him. I think they really have hurt Gunther. I don't know how he bounces back from this. This is 2 manias back-to-back that we can say that he's lost to. No disrespect to Jey Uso, but the underdog. Same thing with Sammy. No disrespect to Sammy, but the underdog. I think this really hurts Gunther moving forward. I don't know how they kind of can finagle that way to bring him back to being such a dominant presence when he gets back on the back.
And PJ, he hosts a podcast, Tap Outs and Touchdowns, with Bully Ryan Frick, says night 1 was very well done, but besides Gunther looking like the weakest heel he's seen in a while, he loved the entire event, which PJ usually, he's a New Japan guy, and he'll prefer New Japan. He even prefers AEW over WWE a lot of times. But Gunther looks like the weakest heel. Wayne loves himself some AEW too. Wayne, did Gunther look weak after last night?
The tap out was way too fast. I thought the strangest thing. And since when did Jey Uso win matches with submission moves?
Thank you.
Especially Gunther, the probably the most dominant champion that we've seen in WWE since Roman Reigns. So I just think it's a strange thing to have Gunther, who's normally this powerhouse, tap out that fast to Jey Uso. I hated the way it ended. I knew Jey was going to win. I'm fine with Jey winning, but to have Gunther tap out within 5 seconds of getting the hold attached to him is insane to me.
Yeah, and Jason's the 4 horsemen. We're the Prez, the Commish, Shawn WOD, and West Side Code. West Side Code, do you feel like Gunther just looked like I mean, you almost diminish his entire world title reign off one night because all the eyes are on WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, and also we spoke about this too on yesterday's Night One show, which is Gunther held the Intercontinental title for some long span. I think he was the longest reigning Intercontinental champion in over like 30 years or something of that nature. And to Shawn's credit, in back-to-back WrestleManias, he has lost on the big stage, which how do you build up to him being a world title holder and then you have him lose, on WrestleMania twice? I think that's very conflicting in terms of booking. Although I do want to point out something. Triple H on the post-game or post-show press conference, he did say that, when you look at guys on how they win and how they lose, it tells a lot about them. And he praised Gunther on how he lost. And I think what he's referring to is how when it came to it, Gunther lost to really build the way that he lost really built up Jey's credibility in terms of how tough of an opponent Jey was. But I think we sacrificed that on the altar of what Gunther should have been on in terms of the main roster as far as a legit champion threat or fighting champion in that respect, because I can understand if Jey did like a 4 turnbuckle frog splash to end it. Like I can understand that. Like it took that much to get Gunther, but to have him tap on his own move very quickly, I probably would have preferred for him to like just kind of pass out and then just kind of not be able to continue. That's how it won. But hey, they booked it this way. I'm very curious to see what the storyline is for Gunther and what they do for his character moving forward to where he gets back in the title reign, because he deserves to be holding one of these 2 prestige titles, not a mid-card title. He's better than that.
Yeah, he's better than that. And we'll see if Gunther could potentially re-challenge Jey Uso at Backlash, maybe regain the title. But you never, ever, ever want your champion to just tap out, especially as quick as he did, especially to his own move. And that was my complaint, even though this was a good match to start out. Not only Jey Uso winning, but Jey Uso and Gunther did put on a show, and Gunther brought it. Like when he laid in on the chops, I mean, and what I loved, the little detail was Jey Uso did go through the WrestleMania crowd, but Gunther, I mean, it is WrestleMania pomp and circumstance, but no, he was the ring general. He meant business. He was walking straight to the ring and just trying to put Jey Uso away. And that's not how it worked out. So Gunther loses his world heavyweight title. And we did have a couple other titles change hands, but we've already mentioned it a little bit. Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. This was the one championship that did not change hands last night. And I didn't expect it to. There were people who did think Charlotte was going to win. And I was the one who got it right. But there is a lot of criticism in regards to what this match was, how much time it got. And even we were blowing up our Boom group chat and we're like, okay, we need to wrap this up. I mean, the build was weaker. Do you feel like the match was even more of a letdown? Wayne, how do you feel about this one?
I disagree with all of you. I disagree. I disagree with the whole narrative about this match. I thought this match was great. It felt like there was real heat between them. It felt like an absolute brawl. People said they didn't have any chemistry. I guess people wanted more choreography and everything they usually complain about. Because usually we hate all that flippy stuff in WWE and we hate all the choreography. We hate when it meshes really well in WWE. So we finally get a brawl, and now we're saying it's sloppy. I enjoyed it. I thought they had some good heat against each other. It looked like a real brawl. It looked like they were legitimately hitting each other. It looks like these two don't like each other in real life. We're not going to see them get together again. I can promise you that. And, and again, we always complain about how the women's matches don't get enough time. So we got a women's match. It gave them plenty of time to hate each other for however long they wrestled. And look at Tiffy at the end of it. She looked pretty rough. I mean, and she comes out as the champion still. So this was a way for Triple H and WWE to show Tiffy Stratton as a champion who beat probably one of the greatest female wrestlers in WWE's age with Charlotte Flair, and to give her some status. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was awesome. My wife and I are big AEW fans. We talk about it all the time. My wife is way harder than I am on WWE, and she told me I needed to watch this match, that it was great. I enjoyed it too. I thought she was right.
Okay, you do bring up a good point. And before I deflect to Cody on this, I do want to say Tiffany Stratton, you can have your own opinion about the match. Did it go too long? Did it get more live time than it needed? It was about 19 minutes from bell to bell. And then you add entrances in. But for Tiffany Stratton to be personified as the Barbie doll, and she even comes out in the Barbie entrances, which is her idea. She wanted to do that for some time. She mentioned that on the post show last night. But Tiffany Stratton isn't just a pretty face. Tiffany Stratton she had a chipped tooth. She was bleeding. And at the end of the night, she was raising her title. And I think there is a little bit of legitimacy when it comes to a champion defending like that. Cody, how did you feel about this match?
So first off, Wayne, thank you for at least pushing back on our perspective on that. I think why the match seems so rough, and I agree, like I love the legitimate heat that they had. Like it did feel like that they were really connecting and they like a legit animosity, and which makes for good storytelling. I think where I had a problem with it is it felt so dragged out, and I didn't realize it was only 19 minutes from bell to bell, but it felt like 39 minutes because of just how drug out it was. And I felt like, and I'm not saying that they should be high flying or anything like that. You can just tell it looked like, from my perspective, the last, 5 minutes, they were both gassed to the point to where they weren't connecting on moves. Things were starting to look a little bit rougher, but I did believe that neither one of them liked each other. But for me, I wish I liked the match more, because I think that this match didn't get a proper build. And I think both wrestlers, especially Flair, who is obviously someone that has put this division on the map in previous years, and Stratton, who's basically carrying the torch, I would have loved to have seen like a little bit more from it. But I mean, what am I to expect from Charlotte? It's her second match since returning from injury, so maybe she's just not quite ready yet. But I just felt like with the match that we had with Naomi and Jade Cargill, we would have had a good match with Stratton and Flair, and I just felt like it wasn't as hyped as I was hoping for, I suppose. So for me, it could have been a little bit better, but for the most part, like Tiffany Stratton walking out, I can live with that. And you're right, she looked tore up from that match, like missing teeth and everything. And I'm glad she walked out the victor. It was my only match I got wrong, but for me, it just felt like the longest 19 minutes of the show.
Cody got a lot of his picks right. I'm a little bit jealous. I did get a few right. I did get the El Grande Americano match wrong. I did get Tiffany right, and I obviously got the main event wrong, which Michael's already bringing up. We talked about the Paul Heyman situation on Thursday night. That's what he's referencing, and we'll get there. Don't you worry, Michael. And Derek, appreciate you. Happy WrestleMania Sunday to you, my friend. You've always supported Mouthing Off with Mike. You've supported Boom Broadcasting. We appreciate you, Derek. Need to talk to Mike about getting you on another nightcap here soon. That'll be pretty lit. Because Derek, you always have great insight. Shawn, I know you like Charlotte Flair. And Michael bring up a good point at the post show. Her teeth were already fixed. So kudos to Tiffany Stratton. Shawn, did this match deliver for you?
As a resident Charlotte Flair person for Boom Broadcasting, this is one of her worst ones for me. I got to agree with Wayne. You could feel the heat. You could feel the animosity. You could tell these two ladies really got backstage heat and the friction between them. You could see it.
Whoa. Shawn, I don't mean to cut you off. Chano, you can't just drop a bomb like that. You can't disrespect the GOAT.
The greatest of all time, Jericho.
But we will enjoy tonight. Appreciate you, Chano, from Four Sides of the Ring. They also do wrestling content over on their YouTube channel. You can go check them out. Shawn, I ain't mean to cut you off, but I can't. I mean, you have to appreciate Chris Jericho. We need our own Jericho Appreciation Society.
Respect Chris Jericho.
That's why he's a learning tree. But you can tell there's animosity heat between them. Like Wayne said, they probably will never put these two ladies back together again in a ring until they can get things pretty much calm on both sides. But like Wayne said, for 19 minutes, it felt like a 40-minute match. It just did not feel like the typical Charlotte match that I'm used to watching. I mean, even when she went for the natural selection, that looked choppy. And I started saying, well, maybe because Charlotte's been out so long, got to knock some ring rust off, come back at the Rumble. You don't do that. Haven't had no one-on-one matches leading up this match. So maybe there was some ring rust, but I just felt like this one just drug on. Because even I tell you, like, they need to go ahead and get this one home because they're losing me right now when it was in the middle of it. Tiffany walks out. If you want to build her to be a true champ, leave it out of this match the way she left, chipped tooth, bruised up, banged up. You made her a star over this match, but not one of the Charlotte matches. And when I go back and think about all the great ones she had that will be in the category that you talk about 10 years down the road, this was an instant classic. No, not at all. One that I hope I can forget about very quick.
It might. Jordan, by the way, shout out, new subscriber on YouTube. Appreciate you. Curious if you've subscribed to Drew Code Sports Talk or Boom Broadcasting or both. I mean, we're streaming on both platforms tonight. Derek agreeing Charlotte looked like she was off in this match. I wonder, and this is going to be a topic I want to cover later this week on programming. Is Charlotte because she's had 8 WrestleMania matches for a championship, which is second all time, men or women. And so now the question is, does Charlotte get put back in that spot, or now that there is a deeper women's division, will she still be, there in a prominent spot?
Well, I think this match was not for Charlotte. This match was Tiffy. And Tiffy came out looking like she can legitimately go and do what she needs to do. And I understand that Charlotte is a legend and everybody wants to see what Charlotte's going to do now that she's returned. But this match was to elevate Tiffy.
Shannon, did you guys find Tiffy's tooth? Somebody said, Michael in the comments, that at the post show, her teeth were fixed. So yeah, everything's good, guys.
This is the toothless aggression era.
Noted.
That was awesome.
There's a lot of stuff we got to talk about for night 2, and we may come back to some of these night 1 matches, but the big one I want to talk about that's already been referenced here. I got to talk about this. Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins in the main event of night 1, WrestleMania Saturday. Guys, I heard all the comments. I heard all the theories. I heard, Paul Heyman is going to choose Seth because he's already decided to go with Roman and already decided to go CM Punk. And I'm like, but Seth doesn't need Paul Heyman. Roman needs his wise man. CM Punk's at a stage where he doesn't need his best friend and hasn't had his best friend in years. And by golly, did we not get Paul Heyman turning on Roman and Punk to side with Seth Rollins? I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I'm holding out judgment, but after sleeping on it, I'm not a fan. I feel like they rushed this. I feel like there could have been another star in the future. Braun Breaker, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, that could have had Paul Heyman services, not Seth Rollins, a multi-time world champion. Can and will always be in the main event as long as he wants to. I mean, Roman needed to be elevated from the big dog to the head of the table. And CM Punk needed to be elevated. Brock Lesnar needed to be elevated as the next big thing. Seth Rollins is already at a top level. And so, I mean, you're basically wasting Paul Heyman's services with Seth Rollins. Cody, I see you're boiling over there.
I'm disappointed in you, Michael. I think you're hurt because the tribal chief got, and I think you're bitter about it. And I think you're taking it out on Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman has been not only the wise man who's been disrespected by Roman Reigns, but all of a sudden CM Punk making Paul Heyman have to choose him over the tribal chief, putting him in this predicament. Seth Rollins never did that to Paul Heyman. This was to happen. And also too, Seth Rollins, who lost his title to Drew McIntyre in the last year's WrestleMania, now going to get back on the trail. He's also going to probably go through the bloodline and get some retribution and find a way to get CM Punk out of there. This was going to happen, and I'm glad it did. I'm very sorry our tribal chief got hurt, Michael. I know that he was your pick, but I mean, it had to happen. When was the best time for Paul to do it?
Not now, not last night, not for Seth Rollins. Wayne, like, can you side with me here?
No, so here's the deal, Mike. I've been wanting to ask you, what hurt more, this or Adam Copeland and FTR?
Okay, hold on, whoa. Wayne, we were perfectly fine without you last night. We didn't need this, like,
Let's stick the knife in it, man.
Here's the thing. This is what I'll say about it. I do not like that. What was it on Raw? They had Rollins say, "Now you owe me a favor." It would have been a bigger shock if they didn't give that kind of like little glimpse of what could have happened. I would have liked that better, but it was a hell of a match. And Seth Rollins has been the most selfless wrestler over the past year or so. He needed this win. So I was pumped to see Seth come up with it. And come on, man, that spear into the pedigree was
sick.
That was excellent. And Paul Heyman is the GOAT, the greatest manager of all time, period. No one does it like him. The man deserves an Emmy. I understand that we want to keep wrestling as out of the whole idea of acting and whatnot, but Paul Heyman, man, he is special. The face expressions that he does. I mean, he's something else.
I mean, yeah, you gotta give it up to Paul Heyman for all he does. I mean, he's elevated a lot of guys. He elevated Roman when they got paired together. It's just, it hurts and it burns. And I feel burned down. I feel burned down right now. And it's like the Roman Empire is just in crumbles. It's gross. And Shannon's asking, who does Seth get, Cody or Jey? I don't know if he immediately gets into that tile picture. Who knows if Cody is champion after tonight? We'll talk about that. And just because Seth won Cody's win tonight, we'll get into that.
I get some pushback on that one.
And Derek, Paul's going to hang around Seth for a while, and then he's going to turn against Seth too. But yeah, because that's what Paul Heyman does. Exactly. Sean, there's never been a guy that Paul Heyman hasn't turned on now.
It hasn't been. He's turned on Brock, Punk, Roman down. Seth, pick a number, wait in line. It's going to happen to you. This match was orchestrated, beautiful masterpiece. Like I said last night, probably one of the greatest triple threats I've seen. Like Wayne said, if they would have never had Rollins say, "Now you owe me a favor," I think it would have just been even bigger because we knew building up in the match. I picked Punk to win because I wanted the storybook ending. My boy, I tell everybody, I met a girl today in Walmart. She on the CM Punk shirt, went up, high-fived her, told her he was the best in the world. I told her, last night hurt me because Punk was the reason that draw me back to wrestling when I went on a 5-year hiatus. I stopped watching, and I remember he was doing the Straight Edge Society. I turned on Friday Night SmackDown, seen this guy cut a promo, then watched him wrestle in the main event. I was like, man, this guy's got something, and I was right back hooked. But it really hurt me last night because the storybook ending would have been having Punk main event WrestleMania for the first time. Win the match. You had Living Color come perform this theme song. You brought him out last. You had him. He has done this in a long time. He lets the crowd do it. Yeah, it's clobbering time. He had on the gray hoodie. The nostalgia was there for Punk to win the match, but never trust a Heyman. Never trust Heyman. But as we said, Seth going into this needed more than Roman and Punk. I can't lie with neither one of Cody and Wayne on that. He did because Seth kind of has, in the past couple of weeks, he's kind of been lost, far as not involved in storyline, but kind of just like floating around. So I think now giving him Paul gives him a dominant permanent fixture with him to now elevate him a little bit farther. And, Paul's going to make Seth a star. Even though Seth is a star, he's going to gravitate him to that next level even more.
And Wayne brought up a really good point. He wished they didn't have Seth look at Paul and say, "Now you owe me a favor."
Right.
Seth this past week was saying that this triple threat was going to be the biggest triple threat and the most important triple threat into the future of our business. And all of that played into Seth and Paul Heyman aligning. And that was 10 years in the making of Seth doing Heist of the Century at the expense of Roman Reigns as well. So the storylines behind all of this was huge, especially the chair shot as Roman was about to finally get his revenge. I feel like Roman will eventually get that chair shot on Seth Rollins, and it's going to be massive. And I think it's going to be even better now that Roman's a face and Seth Rollins is a heel. And speaking of, Sean's had Doughboy on before, and Doughboy's commenting right now. Punk had on the "I just got off from cutting meat" work hoodie, as if he wasn't in the main event of WrestleMania. CM Punk still staying to his roots. And then we got a new guy here. How could Roman trust that wise man after what he did, choosing CM Punk over the GOAT, the Tribal Chief? Exactly. How could Roman trust him? And Roman probably is never going to be trusted again. Like, everybody has turned against Roman, and that's what we're left with. So we'll definitely have some questions, and hopefully we get answers here in the next week or so, rather than like Roman staying off and Punk staying off and Rollins staying off TV for a month. Because Wayne, I'm ready for answers.
Hey, how about Seth mentioning Mox? That was awesome.
Of course, our AEW guy caught that.
Hey, I saw that. I did see that.
That was cool. Not Ambrose, Mox. I loved it.
And everybody thought he said something else, but I told everybody he said Mox. And
yeah, absolutely.
We're in a different world now.
Yep.
Yeah. That will be yeah. So that's night one. I do want to cover more the night one. We'll have Cody join us back here in just a second. And so I want to get you guys' thoughts on night one. You said you rated it a 7 or 8 respectively. Looking at night two, do you think night two is going to be better or worse than night one? Sean, how do you feel?
It's kind of hard because I've been saying all day when everybody I've been texting with that watch Mania, how can you top that triple threat match? I really feel like Cena and Cody has a whole lot to do in the main event to top it. To me, the only way to top it, not giving a prediction, Cena's going to have to win it to top that main event. Night two just feel like it's going to be very hard to catch up to night one. I think my only downfall, I said again, night one was Charlotte Tiffany went too long, but everything else went smooth and ran smoothly. So I'll say it's going to be very hard to top night one.
I think it's going to be hard to top night one. Wayne, do you feel the same way?
No, I feel the opposite way. I think it's going to be very easy to top night one. Like I said, I give night one a 7. The main event was great. Again, surprisingly, I like Tiffy and I like Charlotte. I enjoyed Fatu beating LA Knight. I wasn't thrilled with Jey Uso the way Gunther went down. But look at the card for night two, man. I mean, there's not a single bathroom break fight on this card. Every single fight is a must-see fight. No matter how the main event ends. I just think night two has a much more star power to it.
And we're having some comments too. Michael saying night one had 2 main title changes. Again, the only championship that stayed with the champion was Tiffany Stratton beating Charlotte Flair, but Jey Uso lost his title. LA Knight lost his title. The War Raiders, thank you, lost their titles to the new day. To the new day. And Doughboy back to the drawing board. He doesn't know if Roman can get the bloodline back together. And that could be something. That could be very, very intriguing. And yeah, that's what I think WrestleMania needs to do is set up, because there's so many people who will be like, oh, I watch WrestleMania, or I watch the big events, or, oh, I'm a wrestling fan. Like maybe I'll like pop in, but if you can get them to tune in, then you got to get them hooked for Monday's Raw. You got to get them hooked for next Friday's SmackDown. And that's how you get the casual fans to turn into, oh, I want to be there. And you got to tell me how you pronounce your name. I'm going to butcher it, but I want to give you a shout out. But Marcelino, yes, I am very thankful for the New Day. And we got Cody back on Al Davis way right there. We just your long lost family, so really you're a Raiders fan. So bad. And Jordan saying he's sub to Boom. Appreciate you, my friend. That is awesome. We just saw the count go up to 508. So if you haven't subbed to Boom, you guys can do that. We do a lot of content, wrestling, sports. Shawn has a TV review podcast. We do it all. And so you can be like Jordan, subscribe to Boom Broadcasting. It's free. It just supports us and allows us to entertain you guys and have fun with each other. But that's night one. We covered that for a good bit. But now I want to talk about night two, because we end night one with a triple threat. We're going to start night two with a triple threat. We have Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, and Io Sky as the Women's World Championship will be on the line night one. Now, just like we did yesterday, we're not going to predict the matches until the very end of the show, and we'll do that rapid fire style. But I want to talk about the intricate details when it comes to this match. Now, we obviously saw Jade Cargill, Naomi. A lot of people wanted the dream match of Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair. After seeing night one and seeing how that played out, are you okay with both matches being the way they were? Or do you think you would have done something just a little bit different with this match? Wayne, you love women's wrestling. How would you have wanted this title match to go down? Especially, I mean, not only do you like women's wrestling, you're a huge Rhea Ripley fan.
My daughter is a huge Rhea Ripley fan, and I do enjoy Rhea. I think Bianca is incredibly talented and one of the most athletic stars in WWE. And Io Sky, again, I mean, everything she does is just fantastic. I'm happy with the way it is. I don't think Jade Cargill is ready to fight Bianca Belair in a singles match. I think she did just fine against Naomi, but no, I'm happy with this match. But I'm not sold on Cargill yet. She has certainly improved. But Belair, Bianca carried Cargill during her whole entire tag team together. So I don't know. I wouldn't change it. I get that they're two big, awesome, athletic women, but I'm not ready for Belair or Cargill facing off against each other. So this three-way is going to be a lot of fun.
And this is probably the three most talented women on the main roster. Cody, when you look at these three women, are there any comparisons back to other women wrestlers you've seen in the past to where you're like, hey, because I know Rhea Ripley gets a lot of China comparisons just because of their look. They had the China Eddie Guerrero. They had the Rhea Ripley Dominic Mysterio. Do you feel like any of these draw comparisons, or are they just like their own unique talent evolved in 2025?
Well, I can understand the comparison to China because of, to your credit, their build, their physique, which is more or less of a credit to them for being able to have that type of build, but be extremely athletic and perform really well. Honestly, with how the women's division is, I used to think that like when we had Sasha Banks and Bayley and Becky at the height of the powers, Flair, when the four of those kind of came in at the same time, I thought we were at a really good point in the women's division. But again, to Shawn's credit, and Wayne has pointed this out a couple of times now throughout the show, which is the women's division has just exploded with more talent. And these three in particular have been very consistent, like in terms of storylines, in terms of being right there in the race, in terms of like title contentions, they've been right there. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill's little tag team. I don't know about you guys, but I always got the sense of like, it wasn't, I don't want to say legit, like I didn't believe them, but it always felt like that Jade was kind of there, kind of piggybacking off of Bianca rather than being like a really good like partner. It just felt like that Bianca was like the face of it. And Jade, at some points, it felt like to me that she just wasn't going to stick around. Or I also thought that maybe she would turn on her at some point, because I just felt like they were good, but it just didn't seem cohesive to me. But I really like these three in particular. So I'm actually pretty excited for this match, just because you got two heavyweights, so to speak, with Rhea and Bianca. And then you got Io Sky, who in a sense shouldn't be there. But I would say like Io Sky deserves to be in this match. She is such a talent and has proven that each and every like match that she has and every PLE, she just seems to, keep hitting strides and just being completely awesome. So I think this is a great example of the women's division, how far we've come. And I can't wait to see what the story tells following this match. I think it's going to be very interesting.
And you brought up Io Sky, and they've told this story really well, Sean, that Io Sky's kind of forgotten about. Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair will do their standoffs, and Io Sky's like, I'm here, like, hello, and I have the world championship now on my shoulder. Like, you guys should be chasing me, not chasing this dream match against each other. But Sean, do you feel like the triple threat was the right way to go?
Oh, absolutely, Mike. It was definitely the right way to go. When Bianca won the Elimination Chamber and she picked Rhea, well, pretty much we knew Rhea was going to be the one she went after because Charlotte already said she was going after Tiffany. I kind of got a little upset because I said, well, you're just getting Jade and Bianca now with Rhea and Bianca. Both of them are booked as powerhouse wrestlers. And I didn't want to see this match because I said, somebody's going to squash somebody. And it didn't need to happen with neither one of these ladies. True H and the production team did a good job of thinking about how can we add in an extra person, Io Sky, to now make it where now you don't think it's going to be a double book type of heavyweight style match because you got Io as a third threat that can walk away and win this match because on any given night, she could be either one of these women. I think they did good. I didn't want to see the Bianca and Rhea because I just felt like we were seeing this. They're both booked just alike in their style of wrestling. So adding Io now makes this match way more interesting on the card and definitely one you want to watch when you start Mania off. So I think they got a good spot, setting the tone just like Jey and Gunther did, setting the tone on night 2.
And Derek saying Jade Cargill did a great job against Naomi, much improved since she started in WWE. To think if she was starting in NXT, she would definitely be a main event talent. I agree with that, by the way. And I want to touch on Rhea, Io, and Bianca, but this is what the problem is for me. Jade Cargill, they just wanted to push her to that moment. But look, they don't push Ricky Starks to the main roster immediately. They didn't push Ethan Page to the main roster immediately. Sean Spears was on the main roster as Ty Dillinger, and even he's getting that NXT time. They could have definitely put Jade Cargill in NXT and really work with that deep women's division, work with contrasting styles, and then be built as one of the top women in NXT to where then she goes to WWE's main roster and then she's already a bona fide star, especially with NXT Stand Deliver and NXT pay-per-views in general getting a lot of media attention. Wayne, you're the AEW guy. I want to pose this to you before I leave this thought. Do you think WWE's mishandling Jade Cargill worse than AEW did, trying to book her as like mini Goldberg?
Well, I'll say something I don't say too often, but I think AEW kind of started this with how they booked Jade Cargill. You know, I mean, and that's what they did. They made her this dominant, you know, unstoppable type force, and she's an incredibly strong woman with an amazing physique. But as far as again, she has improved. I don't want to sit here and bad talk her because I think she's very talented and she's worthy of being a star in this profession. But I do think AEW painted her a certain way. WWE took that and tried to do exactly what AEW did with her off the bat. And I think that's where WWE mishandled it because instead of developing Jade Cargill as something for WWE, they kept with the AEW.
Yep. And guys, we do have somebody very special backstage. As you guys know, we do have an on-field reporter live in Las Vegas himself. And we got the man who was there night 1 last night. And I know we talked a little bit about night 1 already, but I do want to hear his live experience real quick before we start diving more into night 2. But we have Mouthing Off with Mike here. That looks like Las Vegas for sure. Mike, how's your WrestleMania experience? You're night 1 in. Are you getting to night 2?
So you're on field. You're Mouthing Off with Mike here, reporting in the field for Boom Broadcasting. We've got a very pricey ticket market, and we are currently sitting in the casino, the Mandalay Bay Casino, feet away from the walkway to Allegiant Stadium, waiting for tickets to either go down or for the slots to, suddenly hit for me. Night one, I had a good time last night. The missus had a good time last night. We had some incredible seats. We were able to sneak in for under $500 for the risers, which was honestly pretty shocking for me. Tonight, obviously, with Cena, everything's priced a lot higher, so we're just kind of stalling things out. We got 2 hours, so we got plenty of time.
We got plenty of time. Don't fret. Don't worry. Derek saying, "What's up? Hope you're enjoying Vegas, and he'll see you at AEW's pay-per-view next month." So that'll be pretty good. He's been hopping in here, and Marcelino has been here. And mouth off the mic, I don't know if you heard our comments about Jade. Jade proved herself the best TBS champion he's ever seen, and Jade needed this. She doesn't need anybody. We were talking about if WWE booked Jade into a corner by not having her in NXT before the main roster.
Time out. Not the best TBS champ, because the best is who got the belt now, Mercedes Moné. But Jade is good.
She was the one who made the belt. Let's be honest. She walked so Mercedes could run.
That's a fact. I like Jade and Naomi's match from last night, man. I thought it was a good little match. I think, a lot of people are real hard on Jade right now. A lot of very critical, very, us included. I've been pretty critical too. Do I think she should have stopped in NXT along the way? Absolutely. 100% she should have. But, at the end of the day, last night with a veteran in the ring like Naomi, Naomi made her look like $1 million. And at the end of the day, for Jade, it's going to be a situation where whoever she's in the ring with may have to help her and make her look as good as we may think she thinks she looks, I guess, if that makes sense.
That is that is pretty fair right there. Yeah, guys, this is pretty awesome getting to have all of you guys here for the WrestleMania kickoff. Before we get back into night two, mouth off with Mike, did you have like a great moment at WrestleMania watching live? Do you feel like there was a match that stood out or a moment that stood out that you're glad you were in the building for?
I definitely am very glad to have been in the building for the main event and everything that transpired after with Paul Heyman and low blowing Punk and Roman and siding with Seth. I thought that was an incredible moment to get to see live. I also thought it was great to get to see not only one, but two WrestleMania debuts with El Grande Americano and his mariachi band of luchador entrants and Rey Fenix. I thought it was super cool that Rey Fenix, much like his brother tonight, Penta, both got their main, WrestleMania moments. The first time wrestling on Mania this weekend. So I thought that was pretty awesome.
And Rey Fenix did lose to El Grande Americano. Pretty controversial, but you did bring up Penta. Penta is part of this Intercontinental Championship Fatal 4-Way with Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and the Intercontinental Champion, Braun Breaker. The question I'm going to pose, not the prediction aspect, because we'll get in those as we rapid fire at the very end, but does Judgment Day implode at WrestleMania? We already saw the breakup between Paul Heyman and his best friend CM Punk. We saw the breakup between Paul Heyman and his tribal chief Roman Reigns. Do we see the breakup? Because Judgment Day has dominated WrestleMania for a while. It's dominated Monday Night Raw, and so many episodes of Monday Night Raw began and ended with the Judgment Day. Wayne, do you see this coming to an end?
I do. I got my 14-year-old daughter sitting over here on the side, and she's looking at me with her fingers crossed because she was a Judgment Day lover until everything went south with them. So she is ready for them to implode, and I got my fingers crossed with her. I do think this is the beginning of the end of the Judgment Day.
Sean, would you agree with that?
I got to agree with it. Same thing like Wayne, my daughter's a big Judgment Day fan, has all the t-shirts. But I think this is the end tonight. I think it implodes tonight, and it's over for the Judgment Day. And it's time. Finn needs to break away.
Man, and we're also getting Derek in the comments. Maybe also just think if Bayley and Lyra defeat Liv and Raquel too, and that is the match we will touch on next because it might not be Bayley. It might not be Bayley, and so I want to ask people what they think. Mike, you and I have done a lot of Raw nightcaps, and Judgment Day's just always been around. Could you imagine doing a nightcap together without the Judgment Day?
It's going to be hard to do a nightcap without the Judgment Day. I am still sad that we lost the other side. R.I.P. to the fallen goat of the theme songs of the last couple of years. Shout out Shawn. I'm just now noticing. I'm on a little screen. You know, I'm not professional today. You know, I'm off the phone, but I had to get an eye on the camera here. Shout out Shawn for the MOWM shirt. Much love, my man. I think we're gonna see. Get ready to learn the lyrics to the Irish Lash Kicker tonight. When it comes to any sort of Judgment Day matches, I think.
Okay. Also, Sean's got a mouth off with a Mike shirt on, and we are streaming on his Twitter, on his X. We hacked it once again, and so I hacked it with the understanding that I'll tell you guys to also subscribe to his YouTube channel, Mouthing Off with Mike, and maybe you can subscribe and give him enough money to where he can get WrestleMania tickets. Just kidding. We don't make money off YouTube. And Doughboy saying, yep, because if Finn doesn't win, he's going to snap. But it'd be funny if Penta joined Dom tonight. Cody, I don't see that happening. Could you see a world where Penta joins Dom?
No, I don't know. Especially when Dom disrespects his dad all the time. Penta's not joining up with that. I actually think I agree with basically the panel here that this is the end of Judgment Day. Or I wouldn't say the end of Judgment Day. I'll say it's the end for Finn Balor in Judgment Day. I think what'll happen is Liv and Dom will continue the Judgment Day because essentially Liv is essentially running it. When it was Rhea and Priest, it was kind of Rhea was kind of spearheading it with Priest, and now I think that's just going to migrate over to Liv and Dom, and I don't think Finn's going to want to stick around anymore. And plus, there's this underlying tension that Dom's had within the group since last WrestleMania. So I think that's also why this, for his time in Judgment Day, is over. He's just wasting away in that group. He deserves so much better than what he's been booked as.
You think so?
Yeah. Finn Balor, talent, yeah, he deserves to be in contention with a mid-card title or even up there with like a heavyweight title. He's so much better than just being an ensemble, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not mad at it, but I do love like Finn Balor when he came in WWE, like everybody just wanted him to recreate the Bullet Club. And then he did some version of that with the Balor Club. And then when he took over for Edge and Judgment Day, it's like, okay, we get some sort of version of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Finn Balor by himself, unless he brings back the Demon, isn't as, important or isn't as notable on the show. But Judgment Day has kept him relevant. That's just my idea. But Mike had an idea as well. Derek says he thinks Mike's onto something. That Becky was at the Hall of Fame with Seth, so it's a good chance Lyra might team with Becky. And if you missed it last night, Bayley was taken out. And we don't know by who. Maybe it was Becky. Maybe it was Shawn's Roxanne Perez. I don't know who it was. But mouthed off with Mike, mouthed off and said that if Bayley's replaced, it could be Becky Lynch. That's joined Lyra Valkyria. Cody, do you have an idea of who could team with Lyra Valkyria tonight?
There's no one that pops out. I mean, I guess Becky makes the most sense. She was featured on their socials last night, as was Mouthing Off with Micah several times yesterday on their socials. So I imagine that is a possibility. But, I mean, another one that might come to mind is we've been saying Alexis Bliss. Maybe she makes an appearance in here because we've been wondering if she's going to get featured. I don't think we've seen her since the Royal Rumble, so maybe. But there's no one that comes out to mind. So Becky, I think, would be the most logical one. She was featured and, like I said, seen yesterday, so maybe.
Wow. Is Becky the consensus pick right here, Wayne?
Yeah. Well, look who knocked Becky out. Last person that Becky faced was Liv Morgan. That's the. So I mean, it makes perfect sense story wise. So, you know, I don't want it.
I never caught that. And Shawn, it's been so long, and everybody's like,
It was the cave match. Was the last match.
That's right.
Liv Morgan and Becky.
Oh, right. Right. Oh, it's been so long.
Oh, here we go.
Mike, what we got here? What we got here, Mike?
You got the line of people headed out to Allegiant Stadium.
Oh.
I got angles. I got insides. I got all sorts of things.
You're the ringside reporter.
Yes, sir. Sideline reporter.
Hopefully he doesn't get to be on the sidelines all tonight and he gets to get in the ring. Hey, Mike might be Randy Orton's opponent.
I think they've got beef. Yeah, I think so.
Listen, fellas, keep doing what you're doing. I love the content. I love that you hacked MOWM. Thanks for letting me pop in here as your sideline reporter. I'm going to go try and buy some tickets to WrestleMania. So I will talk to you guys later. Hopefully you'll see some photos from night 2 tonight on MOWM. So fellas, much love to all of you. Happy WrestleMania night 2.
Let's go. Brother. Mike, we're rooting for you to get to WrestleMania night 2. See Cody Rhodes, John Cena in the main event. Yeah, what a guy, by the way. I want to give him his flowers now that he's not in the room. But mouthing off with Mike, genuinely, like a year ago when we were talking about like all the content I was doing at the time, you know, some health issues that had come up. I'd only known him for less than a month when some health concerns came up for me around my 25th birthday, and he checked on me constantly, more than people I had known for years and years before ever did. And I was like, why is this guy named Mike, who's also a wrestling fan, checking in on me? Because we only collabed like twice together before that. And lo and behold, he continues to check in on me, and we start talking about like content we can do because he has his own YouTube channel. And I'm like, well, I have this idea that I never told anybody. And then when he approaches me, he's like, hey, have you ever started to think about like what you would want to do? Like, would you want to like start your own thing? Would you like, what content would you like to do? And I was like, well, I had this document drawn up before I had some health concerns, and me and him stayed up like it was a college all-nighter on a stream very much like this. It wasn't recorded or anything, but we just hung out. We watched SmackDown together while we brainstormed, and at the end of it, it was like 4 a.m. in the morning, and I was like, bro, this could happen. We could do this. And he's like, okay, man, I know I'm 3 hours ahead or behind you. It's 4 o'clock your time, 1 o'clock my time. He's like, go get some sleep. Let's talk about it in the morning. And after you wake up in the morning, you're like, wow, this could be a thing. And now we're, you know, almost a year into this, and it's not just drop the mic. It's not just out of pocket. It's Wrestle of Destiny. It's It Stinks. It's Sideline Savants. It's all the other shows that we have on Boom Broadcasting where people get to talk about their passions. And that's what I'm really passionate about, is giving people that outlet and giving people who are live streaming with us. Over 165 of you have watched on Boom's YouTube channel alone with us today. There was 400 and some of you yesterday on the YouTube. And then across all our platforms, there was more than 2,000 of you who watched. And so obviously it's not just us in a room and it's just the four of us. I feel like there's a huge community growing. And it's not just for the number. It's just the quality of the community and your support in the comment section as well. It's been phenomenal, and I appreciate you guys. But more so, I would appreciate if Becky Lynch returned to WrestleMania, because I have missed Becky Lynch. She should have been there at the Raw on Netflix debut. She should have been there at the Royal Rumble. But yeah, she needs to be there tonight. if you do see, and I don't want predictions, but if this does go south for either of these teams, do you think Liv and Raquel are more likely to break up after tonight if they lose? Or if Lyra and her partner lose, do you think this sets up Lyra's next challenger? What do you think is most likely in the event of either of these teams losing? Wayne?
Yeah, that's tough, man, because especially without talking predictions. Yeah, I like the idea of them building something more around Lyra and giving her an actual, good run in some competition and highlighting that belt, because I do think it's an absolute shame that we have these two new mid-card female belts and are not, having WrestleMania fights around them. So I would like to see a more focus on that instead of her in a tag team match.
Yeah. I mean, especially with Chelsea Green completely off this card. And he Rick 8-Bit says he called that last Sunday in his picks that Becky would be Lyra's partner. And Cody, maybe that's what they're setting up, Lyra versus Becky Lynch on the main roster, or they may be setting up Liv and Raquel's breakup. Do you feel like it could be the end of the world for either of these teams in a loss?
I think for Lyra, whoever she teams with, yeah. But I mean, I'm just going to play it out like this. If Becky does return, I think that sets up Liv's next opponent, because again, it'll be Becky's redemption arc essentially from post cage match, like what you pointed out. She's been off TV for a while, so I think that would be a great introduction on WrestleMania. And also, too, let's not act like we're not used to seeing Becky kind of show up and steal someone's thunder. We kind of referenced it yesterday when she kind of, came in and did a squash match on Bianca Belair. So, it could happen, but I think for Liv and Raquel to essentially have a fracture, it would have to be very similar to Raquel wins Money in the Bank or something, and that sets it up. But I think their team is pretty much intact, because like I said, I think the fraction within the Judgment Day doesn't come from the female side. I think it's coming from Finn Balor and the guy's side. But I think I agree with what Wayne said. Like, Lyra needs some competitor. The mid-card titles that they created for the women's division, they should have been featured on night 1 or night 2. And we got to find a way to get some sort of heat for them. So depending on who the partner is or said opponent, I think that's how we need to set this up. But I would imagine Lyra and Becky or whoever her partner is, that'll probably be more of the fracture, because they weren't a team to begin with, rather than Raquel and Liv.
And Sean, that's very good. Whenever you have this mishmash tag team, you can, strike lightning in a bottle, but there's also not a lot of loyalties there like Liv and Raquel have had.
Well, I think Liv and Raquel stays together, number one, because if they split tonight and they break up, where's Raquel going to go? She's going to get lost somewhere on the card. She needs the Judgment Day. She needs Liv. And matter of fact, 2 days ago, they were on the social media partying together at some club. So why would they want to break up now? But we saw Heyman turn on Punk and Roman last night. So, in other words, but I think you're going to get the breakup. And what I really think going to get the breakup is if it's Becky. I said it yesterday. I don't want to be Becky. I kind of lost my thunder for Becky. I'd rather see Alexa Bliss in this spot. But hey, if it's Becky, at least we get Becky on the Mania. At least you get Becky on the Mania. But I would like to see, and I really wanted to still be Bayley, because I wanted to see Lyra Valkyria, Bayley take the pin, and Valkyria turn on Bayley and become a heel. And now you got a good feud that can carry us to SummerSlam with Bayley as the face and Valkyria as the heel. I mean, you still could do it with Becky, but would you want to do it knowing if you don't know what Becky would want to do the SummerSlam match? So I got a lot of questions with this that I'm kind of still lost the puzzle with.
Wow.
I have a wild theory I think is going to play out following WrestleMania and into obviously the new round of PLEs that should happen in storylines. And it's going to come from that triple threat match that we just watched with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns and CM Punk. What if obviously Becky returns, WrestleMania puts her back in on TV regularly, and then some PLE in the future, maybe Backlash or something, where we see Paul Heyman now be one of the advocates for Becky. Becky and now Seth Rollins are now connected on screen as the power couple. Because again, Becky had a moment where she was somewhat heel as the man, but really was like a face heel type of situation. What if then Becky joins whatever faction that Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman are kind of forming together, and they're now a power couple that are going after the prominent titles. I think that's very interesting, and I think that's why I can be sold on Becky returning for tonight's WrestleMania.
So you would see Becky Lynch as a heel returning?
Yeah, because Seth, I think, went full heel. We can agree to that. And by the way, shout out to King Rome, who said that I think he's going to get that full-fledged turn, and he referenced that on your show, Mike. So I think this is where Becky returns and then does that.
Wow. I don't know, guys. I mean, we just heard Shawn say, hey, did you say Lyra could be the heel?
Let Lyra turn heel.
And Cody's like, Becky could be the heel. Wayne, I don't know what. I mean, did we just see enough heel turns last night? Like, come on. You can't do this to me.
This is WWE, guys. The other. No, I don't know. I do think it's kind of funny. You know, you had Charlotte Flair coming back to win the Royal Rumble. Becky said, no, I'm not coming back. So now, you know, Charlotte Flair loses last night, and Becky's ready to roll in now. So I'm a fan of that. Hopefully. I love Becky. I'll never dislike Becky. I think she's fantastic. If she comes tonight, I'm going to be thrilled. But yeah, I'm excited for her. I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, obviously, like Becky and Seth, I mean, they're a couple. Everybody knows them. Becky could probably pull off a heel. And so could Seth if Becky really leaned into it. But I don't know. I feel I would just feel hurt, you know, Seth turned heel and then immediately after Becky turned heel after I've waited all this time. So I could see Becky. And then Michael brought up an interesting point that Becky Lynch or Rhea Ripley could replace Bayley. Now, here's what is interesting about it is you do have Rhea, Io, and Bianca opening up the night. If Rhea was to lose and not be pinned, and if this women's tag was the second to last match, I mean, I feel like Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan is always going to be a feud you can run back and reflect to. Wayne, I don't know why you're disagreeing with me because it's one of the better feuds we've watched in quite some time with the women's division. Did you just throw your pin?
I gotta agree with Wayne. I think Wayne, while you're disagreeing with it, I think is the same reason why I am. That's going to the well too much. Like, we've already closed this chapter. Let's let Rhea have a new rival, not just Liv because she stole Dirty Dom, which, by the way, him and his chicken tendies can go. You know, we gotta put Rhea in a good storyline with somebody that will elevate her and she can elevate them, not keep going back to Liv. I mean, Liv is a good performer, but we're done with this storyline. We don't need to rehash it.
Liv Morgan's entire championship reign was about Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio. And it's a shame because Liv Morgan is incredibly talented. She deserves more than just to be in some love triangle. I'm sick. I don't want that anymore. No.
Wow. Okay, Shawn, I hope I didn't see you not in your head. No. So maybe you're not going to leave me on island right here because I feel like I'm on the island of irrelevancy.
I'm going to go up there with you, Mike. Liv and Rhea, they work together. They gel together. The chemistry's good. The match is good. The promos are good. I mean, honestly, both of them feed off each other when you put them together. I would say if there's a good opportunity to do it, tonight would be a good night. Like you said, if Rhea doesn't eat the pin, team up with Akira and go beat. What better way to say you lost your first match, but I came back and beat my enemy and took the tag titles from him and took another stab at Judgment Day, the faction that she kicked me out of. I'm with you. Run it back.
Can I say one more thing about it?
Yeah.
We're in such an incredible position for women's wrestling. And the reason why I did not like Liv and Rhea is because you do not need a man in the middle to highlight these talents.
That's right.
And I think Dom is incredibly talented. I think they need to push Dom. I'm big on that. They don't need to be, if you're gonna take them from one situation with the Judgment Day and start breaking everybody apart. You shouldn't put them together in some other situation.
Right.
I just don't think Liv and Rhea need to be in this storyline with Dom in the middle anymore. This isn't high school. This is professional wrestling. Let the women do their things. They're so talented. They don't need Dom. They don't need any other man to fight over and argue about. The origin story of this whole thing is just ridiculous. It's been played out over and over again. Women's wrestling should have more merit than Dominic Mysterio in the middle of it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I side with Wayne on that one. Girl dads unite. I agree with that.
Girl dads unite. Oh, that is pretty funny. I will say though, like, I wouldn't be mad about them going back to the well. And maybe it's not tonight. Maybe you get like Becky Lynch to return. I'm sure that would get a bigger pop. Or you could, you could go several different ways. Alexa Bliss just honestly needs to be featured, whether it's tonight or at next year's WrestleMania. We need to start using Alexa Bliss more. And women's wrestling is at an all-time high, Wayne. But there are some feuds that you can go back to the well on. And they did it with Trish Stratus and Lita 20 years ago. They are doing it with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns now. That's a feud that's like 10 years in the making. And you recycle it during Roman's Tribal Chief peak. You recycle it last year because, why is Cody getting help from Seth Rollins, who hated his guts 2 years ago when Cody returned against Seth? Because you can keep recycling really great feuds. And I feel like when you have great chemistry, whether there's Dom or not, even if that is how it started, I feel like you could still have animosity between Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. And that's just me. That's just me. And I feel like we have a little bit of time. We're just enjoying so many of you join us. I only see the numbers from the Boom YouTube page, and we have over 200 people who have joined us while we've been live streaming, and we're going to about 6:30ish. We're going to try to get you enough time to get some grub, but we want to cover all our matches. And we started talking about this Fatal 4-Way just because the women's tag and the Fatal 4-Way are so intertwined. There's a point that was brought up about Finn Balor and just how much potential he has away from the group. But if you look at this entire Fatal 4-Way, Wayne also mentioned like Dirty Dom. Like he should get a push, like how much heat he's getting, but also Braun Breaker's getting over with the fans. And he's just bringing more intensity week after week. Penta still has everybody in awe from the moment he's making his entrance to all the moves in the ring to his finish. This is a Fatal 4-Way that, Seth Rollins said this about the triple threat, that triple threat last night was going to tell you about the future of the business for the next 10 years. I'm going to be honest. I feel like this 4-Way is going to tell you more about the future of the business in the next 10 years. I know this isn't out of pocket, but am I out of pocket for that, Cody? Because like, looking at this, like the future looks really bright with these guys.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. If anything, we're looking at 4 guys that could potentially be like in jockeying in terms of like rivalry to get to like a WWE Undisputed title or the World Heavyweight title. Like, I really think that these guys are talented enough to be in that level, especially Braun Breaker. Penta, if he gets his first kind of singles championship, I think that puts him on the map. Dirty Dom is just probably one of the best heels that we've had in a very, very long time with the heat that he's gotten. He held the North American title for a short reign, but again, he is talented enough to where he can hold a mid card and really compete with like top talent as well. Finn Balor, I've said earlier, I think he's somebody that needs to get more of a title push. I think he's too talented not to get one. So I think what's awesome is this Fatal 4-Way. Either one, you can make an argument for either 4 of these guys to either win or what the storyline could be following that. And I think that just talks about how, and we even mentioned this yesterday on the show too, with following up with WWE's acquisition of AAA, is just they find promotions, they help build them up, they find talent, and they help raise talent. Now, I know Wayne will probably argue that, they also lose a lot of talent, and a lot of talent gets kind of pushed to the wayside, which we can all agree to that. But I think this is a great example of when WWE believes in the talent that they have brought in or whatever, these guys can shine, and I think this is a really good showcase of that. So I'm really looking forward to this fatal 4-way in the sense of like whoever the winner is, and assuming if Braun Breaker doesn't retain, he's going to be pushed to something even better because he's too talented not to.
And yeah, because I mean, this is what the Intercontinental titles is. By the way, shout out to our guy, Mr. Jod. I apologize if I mispronounce names, but appreciate you joining us. We also just went up in the sub count. We're at 511 now for Boom Broadcasting.
Let's go.
More than 200 of you have joined us for this pre-show, and we're still going strong. We're still going strong. We're all excited. Finn calories. I'm assuming he means Finn carries, but I could be wrong. He could be talking about
how lean he is.
He could be talking about how lean he is. He hides too much during the match. Alternative to win is Penta. Okay, so he thinks Finn's the favorite, and Penta could walk away as the Intercontinental Champion. This is what the Intercontinental title is supposed to be, Sean. I mean, Sean, you're such a historian. Like the Intercontinental title way back when to, let's say it, Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels, like ever since then, like the Intercontinental title has been used to elevate guys to the main event level, and an Intercontinental Championship for any of these guys could put them on that level for the first time, which is huge. Do you see any of these guys winning the Intercontinental? Not obviously a prediction, but like any of these guys, if they were to win, do you think the next step would be a main event picture?
Almost definitely. You know, it goes back to Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 10. Then you got that time Jericho, how he brought prestige back to the Intercontinental title, and the most reigning Intercontinental champ in WWF is Jericho. But even now, you look at Gunther, how he restored that title back to the prestige it had and elevated himself to the main event level. So whoever wins tonight, whether it's Finn who needs to be elevated, if it's Penta, the new guy coming in, that you look like, okay, here's a guy that we really want to get people behind, or even if it's Braun or Dirty Dom, it will elevate you to that next level.
Wayne, how do you feel about the Intercontinental Championship? And you mentioned Gunther, who obviously didn't have a good night last night. He elevated the Intercontinental title, and I feel like Braun Breaker is still doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree wholeheartedly. When I was growing up, the Intercontinental title was always the stepping stone to the heavyweight title. All the big stars that we saw that held the Intercontinental title and ended up having the biggest title in the world. So I absolutely think it's a prestigious title. I'm glad they're giving it the attention that it deserves. I mean, Gunther really elevated the title probably more than anybody has in a long time. And for what he's done with that title, this is going to be a great match. I'm really looking forward to it. Braun Breaker, he's a star, absolute star. Everybody's in love with Penta right now, seeing what he's been doing in WWE, but he's been a star for a long time now. And Finn Balor, I think this is going to tell a story for Finn Balor. I think we're going to see something happen at the end of this, and Finn's going to go away, and then he's going to come back as something that we've seen before. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Whoa, we might have to tap into your prediction a little later on. And Michael saying Dirty Dom isn't his time to elevate. He still needs to grow so much and learn to focus. I feel like that's a hot take, guys. I feel like that's a hot take because, I mean, I don't know if any of you have gotten to go to a live Monday Night Raw. And even if you haven't, like, you can see it on TV. I mean, this guy can't speak when he has the microphone, whether he has Liv Morgan draped around his arm or not. I mean, he just garners that much heat. And I feel like for Dirty Dom, I mean, that's what you need to know. Logan Paul is obviously a heat magnet. We'll talk about him here in a few minutes. But Dirty Dom, I feel like he needs a push because he can garner that much heat. And there's not enough like natural heels. Cody, I don't know if I know you're a Stone Cold guy, so he's more of the baby face for you. But, I mean, you got to love a heel like Dirty Dom.
Honestly, he is one of the better heels. And honestly, it's not even heel because I still would argue that Triple H is probably the best heel that we've seen at least that I remember growing up, because I remember, again, in the Attitude Era, I remember when Triple H got injured. He was gone for almost a full year, came back to babyface. Then he turned heel not very long after that, and has been essentially a heel to our eyes throughout his entire career. And even when he was in the corporate head of creative and all that stuff during that storyline. So to me, though, Dirty Dom being a heel in this sense is just, he's got so much heat, and it's so good because, like, you want to root against him, but when he gets in the ring, he's clearly talented, and he sells like nobody's business. And that kind of helps, like, I wouldn't say the credibility of another guy, but because he's kind of a veteran in a sense, even though he's still pretty young, he's able to tell a story in a match, and you kind of like think that he's not going to make it, and then finds a way to like be in contention of it. But even that, just walking around, he is getting so much heat, and that's what you want as a professional wrestler and as an entertainer. So we haven't seen anything like that, and it's not even what Dom is doing in the match. It's just what stories that he's been able to help tell around and outside of the ring, which is why he is in that upper echelon of heel type of behavior, in my opinion.
Wayne, do you feel like Dirty Dom, if it's not tonight, do you think he could hold a championship on his own, especially if Judgment Day implodes, just based off his character work?
That's interesting to think about, because, I mean, Dom's biggest claim to being a great heel is being part of the Judgment Day, and just being that, you know, it's hard to picture Dom not in the Judgment Day and how he's going to continue to be a heel in that situation. I mean, I think Dirty Dom's that lovable heel that we love to hate, but we all enjoy watching. You know, like I don't see how that moves on past Judgment Day. Do I see him as a future champion? I do, but it's interesting because it's hard to think of Dirty Dom and not hear the boos drowning out his voice every single time he's in the ring and whatnot. But I just don't know how he continues the heel run without Judgment Day. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, and I feel like he wouldn't go straight into being a babyface if Judgment Day does implode. I feel like, because Dom, I mean, he was a heel with Rhea Ripley, and then Rhea Ripley was turning face, and then you're like, oh, well, if Rhea's turning face, will Dom turn face? Well, no, Dom turned on Rhea to side with Liv Morgan. I feel like Shawn, I feel like Dom's always going to find a way to be a heel and to just find new ways to get under the fan skin. And that's why I feel like it is his time. Just like Doughboy, it's Dirty Dom time.
I mean, he's always going to be a heel, Mike. I mean, look at that face. That's why I mouthed off with Mike. Smacked it the other day with a chair. You want to smack a guy like that, face with a chair. He just knows how. Some people know how to work as a heel. Dom just knows how to work as a heel, just like Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Always was a face. He knew how to work as a face. I think Dom just remains a heel his entire run in WWE because he just knows how to get under everybody's skin and make you hate the guy so much that you're begging to see him come on TV so you can boo him.
Yeah, you guys, I feel like we underestimate just the heat that Dirty Dom brings, and I'm for one excited about it. Michael, he's a great tag team partner, but he isn't a solo wrestler. Well, maybe he'll prove you wrong. Maybe he can prove you wrong tonight, because it is every man for himself in the Fatal 4-Way. And again, we are going to cover our predictions rapid speed at the end of our live stream tonight, but we still got some time to go. Speaking of a heat magnet, we got this guy.
Oh, yeah.
You knew where I was going with this. We have Logan Paul and AJ Styles. Now, Logan Paul is obviously not well liked or received, and I feel like that's why they use him. Also, he's got this podcast and all the popularity. But y'all were given some high praises for Roman, Seth, Punk last night, saying that that could be the match of the weekend, that could be the match of the year. There is one thing about Logan Paul matches, and there's one thing about AJ Styles matches. They do deliver, and this will be the first time they lock up together. AJ Styles made an impressive match with The Undertaker during COVID. Granted, they did do a more cinematic approach, but I feel like AJ Styles you can put in with a broom and he would put on a match that's like unequivocal to anybody else. And then you put him in with an athlete like Logan Paul. If there's not a lot of, and PJ was on here commenting earlier, if there's not a lot of gaga with this match, and if it's a pure wrestling match, I hate to say it, but I think this could be the best in-ring match that we get the entire weekend. Shawn, do you have high hopes for that match, or are you just using this as your bathroom break?
No, I got high hopes for this match because my boy's in it, Logan Paul. Nobody on Boom likes Logan but me. I said all the time about Logan, if he takes it seriously, this guy could be the best in this era that we're in now, WWE or World Heavyweight Champ. 1, he knows how to draw heat. 2, he has a following that people follow him and will gravitate to him to watch him on TV. 3, the guy can flat out, whether you like it or not, the guy can flat out work in the ring. Now, it's some things that he could work on. He's not the best seller. We know that. We know that's something he's going to have to work on. But as far as the athleticism, he's the first person since I've been watching from the 80s to right now in 2025, grab a hold of this business with no formal training and has exploded within our eyes in a year or two. Now you're putting him against my favorite guy from TNA in WWE now, AJ Styles, big AJ guy from back in TNA. I think this could be the best match if, 1, they let Logan and AJ go out there and just work. AJ be the more technical side. Logan do a lot of his high spots. You walk away saying, man, 3 years ago, this was a pretty good match. Or even within a month, I want to see him run it back. So I'm definitely high on this match right here with both of them in it.
Yeah, and Wayne, the only hesitancy I have with this is it might feel a little bit more choreographed when it comes to their match.
Well, listen, there's a reason why the greatest wrestler in the world, whose name is Will Ospreay, uses the Styles Clash, because AJ Styles was the TNA era version of Will Ospreay. He did things that we didn't see before, and AJ Styles can still go. And like Shawn was talking, Logan Paul is a talent in that ring that we don't see too often as far as how quick that they learn. I still think about Logan Paul and Ricochet. That match was unreal. Fantastic match. So I think this is going to be a heck of a match. AJ Styles can still do his thing. He's a blast. I think people forget about how good AJ Styles truly is. I know we regard him as a legend and he's talked about often, and we're excited to see him back and whatnot. But, especially the younger generation, I don't think they fully understand the influence that AJ Styles has had on modern wrestling. So I'm excited to see this match.
He's excited. Derek agreeing with Shawn as well. If Logan would take wrestling seriously, he'll be a multi-time champion. And Carson, appreciate you joining us, my friend. I believe that's your first time commenting. Be sure to subscribe to Boom Broadcasting and Drew Code Sports Talk, that wherever you're watching it. This is where we're bringing you wrestling content, sports content. We'll do some special stuff for the NFL draft this week that we're excited to announce as part of Hoops and Helmets, hosted by Aaron Schneider and Carson Williams, whose name is also Carson. Carson saying first night of WrestleMania was not worth, he'll say it, a crap. If John Cena wins, fans need to turn away and quit watching because he's been way too long. Don't worry. We are getting there, and I have some hot takes as well when it comes to the main event. Cody, with Logan Paul, AJ Styles, where are you on the spectrum of this could be my bathroom break because I don't care, or, ooh, I'm ready to see what their athleticism brings to the table?
Well, for those that need a bathroom break, just wait until a 5-minute commercial comes on with a PLE, and then you can go and do whatever you need to do because they happen so often. So anyways, that's besides the point. I do want to echo Wayne's flowers giving to AJ Styles. I think when we talk about wrestlers that have paved the way for modern wrestlers of today or entertainers, not only are we talking like John Cena, but AJ Styles needs to be in the same conversation because he was doing this way back in TNA when it was, pre-recorded, just getting off the ground. He was having, 5-star matches with Samoa Joe, with Kurt Angle when he was there for a time. So AJ Styles has been around the block and continuing to put on matches to where you believe that he is the guy the face that runs the place, is essentially like how he is. I think what Logan Paul does for me is he's that typical heel where I don't want to root for him, but I can't argue the fact that he puts on decent matches. I mean, for a guy that's never wrestled, he does really, really well. He takes it seriously, which is all you can ask for. He's having a very hot start to his career, very similar to me as when Kurt Angle got started in the late 90s, early 2000s, where he almost, I think if I'm not mistaken, in his first year, he won the Grand Slam in terms of title runs. He won at the time the European title, Intercontinental Championship, and the main heavyweight championship at the time. So Logan Paul's kind of on that same trajectory. I think because he has elevated to each different match, like, again, starting off with Ricochet, which is a great intro. He's had great Royal Rumble, spots. He had a really good bout with Roman Reigns back in a couple of Crown Jewels ago. So he can go with the best of them. AJ Styles is definitely probably the most talented in terms of like ring presence and veterancy outside of like Roman Reigns, for example. But I think what Logan Paul is doing is he is bringing this presence of a younger audience in when it comes to like storytelling, heat, because he is getting heat like no one's business. We talked about Dirty Dom. Logan Paul's in that same kind of level of heat just because people don't like Logan, but when he performs, you can't like not say, man, that wasn't a great match, because he puts on great matches and he's always got a hell of a spot when it comes like flying off the turnbuckle onto a table or, whatever you want to say. And I think that's just what makes it tough is AJ Styles is a heck of a performer. Logan Paul's on that same level. I'm very curious to see what kind of magic these two can cook up in the ring, because I don't want to say it'll be match of the night or of WrestleMania, but I think it'll be up there for sure. Like there's too much talent that's going to happen and collide where it's just an old school one-on-one wrestling match on a WrestleMania. I think it's going to be one of those, and I think it's going to be very good.
And that's crazy to think, like a caliber of, the caliber of AJ Styles. We can even say like in ring, Logan Paul can deliver a really good match, which is crazy to think about, just not having as much experience, not training every day. Michael's saying it's a tough choice, but AJ has knowledge, but Logan has that power of the punch. And Doughboy is a little upset at Shawn, because Mike off, he done fall off the deep end. That's crazy. Doughboy got you, bro. Wow. And by the way, we got you guys. We got nearly 300 of you watching live on Boom Broadcasting. We're fastly approaching. We're at like 284 who have watched just on the YouTube channel alone for Boom Broadcasting. 285, excuse me. And that is a record. And that record was 24 hours old because you guys said it yesterday and then you broke it today. So we just want to say a quick thank you, by the way. We're covering WrestleMania. We're trying to give you the best content possible. Engage. This is why we do live streams where you guys can interact with us. And just enjoy and hang out right before WrestleMania. This is one of my favorite weekends as a wrestling fan. And it makes it so much more enjoyable to be with people I care about, like Wayne, Cody, and Shawn, and then MOWM was on here a few moments ago, and then getting to see all of you in the comments. And Jay join us as well. Night two, baby. Let's go. So it is night 2, and not only are we giving you content for WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2 pre-show, but we're also giving you some recap content. We recap Night 1 a little bit at the beginning of the stream, but we'll also be recapping WrestleMania and the subsequent events to follow, because hey, there's no off season with wrestling. It keeps on going. Monday Night Raw will be here tomorrow, and we have it all in store for you. So that is going to be incredible. That's going to be awesome. So if you guys want to hit that subscribe button to make sure you don't miss any of our content and we can continue to grow a community, that'd be much appreciated. Subscription costs $0.00, but if you want my 2 cents, it's worth subscribing. So AJ Styles, Logan Paul, that is a celebrity match. And so I wanted to kind of like break it up a little bit. do you guys have a favorite celebrity match, whether it be at WrestleMania, whether it be Logan Paul's? I mean, we've seen quite a bit. I mean, we had Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville a few years ago. We had Damian Priest and Bad Bunny in that Backlash Puerto Rico street fight, which was so good. And then Logan Paul is still considered a celebrity, and he's getting better and better in the ring. Shawn, you are a historian. Do you have any celeb match that just pops up in your mind? Because for me, I'll go ahead and say mine so you guys can't steal mine. It is Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. The crowd, the Puerto Rican community, just backing Damian Priest and Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny hitting that Mexican destroyer off the apron. Like, it was above and beyond what I would have ever imagined. And they over-delivered. And Bad Bunny hasn't been seen in a singles match since, and now I really want him to. Because, hot take, Bad Bunny might be better than Logan Paul in the ring. But that's just my opinion. That's my favorite celebrity match, even though shout out Adam Cole, Pat McAfee down in NXT. Shawn, do you have a celebrity match that you really enjoy?
I do, Mike. You know, shout out to Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. Arguably, that was the best celebrity match I'd seen because nobody expected the Bad Bunny to be able to come in and just flat out work. We didn't expect it. But my favorite one, I'm going to go back to WrestleMania 11 because this match, the main event, built up and it was on national news when it all started unfolding. So I would have to say mine's going to be Lawrence Taylor and Bam Bam Bigelow.
Oh.
The build up for this match to lead to WrestleMania when Bam Bam pushed Lawrence Taylor when he got eliminated at the Royal Rumble, making national news. I mean, it was on the 6:00 evening news down here in North Carolina of this match right here building up. So that's got to be arguably one of the best ones. You know, now did Lawrence Taylor come out and do what Bad Bunny did in the match? No, it was kind of more clothesline, body slams. Bigelow made him look good. But the build up for that was what made it be one of my favorite ones.
Wow, that is a throwback.
Was Lawrence Taylor sober at the time? That's
that's a good question.
Cody's our big football guy. Podcast Me's just glad that Shawn didn't say David Arquette win the WCW title. And Mac's like, those are the dark days of WCW. Yes. This is the first Papa Davis appearance this weekend as we've been live streaming for WrestleMania. So glad Dad can join us. Wayne, do you have a celebrity match that stands out to you? And I don't think Podcast Me wants you to say David Arquette either.
I'm not going to say that, but I'm going to tell you something. I grew up a WCW fan, which is probably a big reason why I like what I like nowadays. But WCW was my program. WCW Monday Night Nitro. I loved it. When my friends were going around doing the DX, I was throwing up the Too Sweet NWO all the time. So for me, for nostalgic reasons, it's not even a great match, but it was just fun. Diamond Dallas Page, Karl Malone versus Hollywood Hulk Hogan and Dennis Rodman. For nostalgic reasons, it was just a blast. I collect sports cards when I was a kid. To see Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman in the wrestling ring with what I think, you know, regardless of how you feel about Hulk Hogan now, Hollywood Hulk Hogan is the greatest heel of all time. Don't care what you say. Don't care. And Diamond Dallas Page and Karl Malone it was fun. It was just fun as a kid to see some basketball stars and some wrestlers go at it.
Move over Hollywood Hogan. Dirty Dom is the best heel ever of all time.
Don't work for me, brother.
Podcast Me saying yes, Wayne, for that Karl Malone DDP tag team match. Cody, do you have a celeb match that sticks out to you?
So I've got two. So one of them is Stephen Amell at SummerSlam with Stardust, Cody Rhodes, formerly known as Stardust. That was probably one that I liked. And the reason why was because I was a huge Arrow fan when the show was running. And so to hear Stephen Amell get in the ring, and he's a huge wrestling fan in and of itself. Obviously, he's had several other run-ins with other wrestlers. And I think one of them was at AEW as well. If I'm not mistaken, Wayne, you seem to be the AEW guy, so you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But the one that kind of sticks out to me the most in terms of nostalgia is the David Arquette winning the WCW, which kind of epitomizes WCW's kind of hectic running, we'll say. But I will say, too, it was because of a very long movie promotion of Ready to Rumble with David Arquette and the WCW crew, which is one of my favorite wrestling movies of all time. It's not great, but it's super entertaining. And people forget that, like, back in the day when that movie was running, he was doing a movie production promotion to even carry it, and they just so happened to put the title on him. So that's, for me, that's why, for nostalgia reasons, I love it so much.
Wow. And Podcast Me said, by the way, don't say David Arquette winning the WCW title. Just FYI. Just throwing that out there. Doughboy is like, Sean knew. He doesn't like Logan Paul. I don't like Logan Paul either, Doughboy. I don't want to give him credit.
The guy, man. He's the guy. Logan Paul's the guy.
But we gotta be unbiased.
Logan Paul takes the heat and uses it to be a absolute great heel. And that's what makes a good heel in the business, is when you don't take it personally, you just run with it. And Logan Paul knows that he's a slime bag and just carries it well. I mean, he's a perfect heel.
Yeah.
And Ryan, hi to you, my friend. Hope you're enjoying the WrestleMania kickoff show for Boom Broadcasting, as we're streaming live. WrestleMania starts in a little less than an hour at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So it's 6:11. Don't worry, we'll cover everything you need before we head out of here and enjoy WrestleMania Night 2. If you're joining us for the first time, we want to ask you to subscribe. It costs $0, but you'll get to catch all our programming, because this isn't just, we did this last night for WrestleMania. We're doing this tonight for WrestleMania Night 2. It's been a huge success. It's been very fun. Over 300 of you have joined just on Boom's YouTube channel alone. We're also streaming on Drew Code Sports Talk's YouTube channel. We're also streaming on Boom Broadcasting's Facebook page. We're also streaming on Mouthing Off with Mike's X account that we hacked. And he popped in as an on-site reporter from Las Vegas himself. But he's decided to say Logan buries AJ, and Ryan saying Cody's going to beat John Cena. We'll get to that main event. Do not worry. Do not worry. We will get to that main event. And Podcast Me was talking about Stephen Amell and his interaction with Joey Ryan. But when it comes to unaliving, we'll say that that might happen in this Sin City street fight. Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, and Wayne's already wearing the burial shirt. Drew McIntyre posed in front of CM Punk's burial, and Drew McIntyre, if he has his way, will be standing or kneeling next to Damian Priest's tombstone after tonight. This is interesting because I love that WrestleMania is a moment where you can have a street fight, where you can have weapons involved. And sometimes it's more of, hey, let's, get something, fresh, get something a little different than the other matches. So it's kind of like a comedic relief. That's kind of like the Sami Zayn, Johnny Knoxville vibe from a few years ago. But then you have Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest, and the bad blood they have dating back all the way to a year ago when Drew McIntyre won the World Heavyweight Championship. His beef with CM Punk got him in trouble, and Damian Priest cashed in to leave WrestleMania, not as Senior Money in the Bank, but as World Heavyweight Champion, and leave Drew empty-handed. Drew did get his WrestleMania moment, but he's hoping that his WrestleMania moment is not squandered for a second year in a row by Damian Priest. And with a street fight, guys, are you expecting more of, hey, let's get all these spots in, let's get these weapons out, let's put somebody through a table? Or do you think this is just going to be absolutely vicious, and the animosity is going to be, oh my goodness, at just incredible lengths? I mean, Wayne, you've watched a lot of AEW content where it does get hardcore. I don't know if we should expect as extreme as Mariah May and Toni Storm, but what's your expectations for the depths these men will go to?
All right, shocker, the AEW guy loves stipulation matches. I'm pumped for this match. I think it's going to be, in my opinion, this is the match I'm most excited about. I love big guys. I love meat. These two guys are out there. Drew McIntyre is a big dude. Damian Priest is a big dude. They always give it their all in their matches. Drew McIntyre's intensity is amazing. Damian Priest has really grown over the past year or so. I think this is going to be a great match. I think it's going to be, I think we're going to see some color in this match. And I think it's going to be something that people are going to be talking about. And I think it's something that people are kind of not thinking about as far as night 2 goes. This, WWE doesn't seem, I don't know, WWE fans don't seem as big on stipulation matches as some of the other promotions seem to be, real big on. I don't know. I just, on a personal level, this is screaming my name. I'm excited for it.
It's screaming his name, and he's wanting some color. Cody, do you think we get some blood?
So I'm very much like Wayne in terms of old school. I love stipulation matches. I hope we do get some color because I understand why WWE kind of went away from it, but sometimes I do miss seeing it in certain moments. And I'm glad throughout certain storyline points, we do see it casually. Maybe it's an inadvertent like slash that not a cutting that is like purposeful, like what used to happen back in the day, but something that just kind of genuinely happens. I like to see it, but I also miss the days of when it was a hardcore or street fight match or whatever, where pinfalls would happen backstage or on a loading dock. And now it kind of like it goes around the arena and then falls right back into the ring. I kind of miss it when it would go out into a parking lot, when it would go out, shades of, I think it was in Memphis. There was a SmackDown where it was Falls Count Anywhere and they ended up in the Memphis River and a pinfall was done on a tire. Like I miss seeing that. So I kind of wish that this would kind of play out into like the Vegas Strip, so to speak, and like have a pinfall there or something. I think that would be very entertaining, but I'm glad that we get a stipulation match. I hope, and I do agree with Wayne, that it is going to be one of the matches that people slept on, so to speak. They probably thought 2 meatheads, they're going to go at it. No one's going to care. Maybe this is my bathroom break, but I think they actually are very talented enough to where they're going to put a pretty good storyline together. And the fact that you can have objects and all that stuff and it can go wherever, I think that makes a very interesting story that could be told as a match. So I'm actually looking forward to this. And I would not be surprised if it's one of the top matches that we look back on as like, oh yeah, that was a good match in WrestleMania. Like that one stood out to me more so than we'll say, Logan or AJ Styles. I don't think that's going to happen, but that could be a possibility depending on how these two do it.
Now, if you guys are wanting to take your bathroom break during this match, I would highly advise against it. Whether we do get color or not. And Cody did bring up a good point with the street fight. I mean, technically you could end this like outside the ring. I don't foresee that happening just because of WrestleMania. You want to settle things in the ring, have your moment, have the lights on you. So that's the only reason I don't see this ending outside of the ring. But this is going to be great. And I feel like this could elevate stars. For example, Drew McIntyre has had his opportunity to headline WrestleMania. He won the Royal Rumble in 2020. Yes, he won the WWE Championship in the main event against Brock Lesnar, but it was during COVID mania, so it was in front of no one. And then a few years later, he has the opportunity to open up WrestleMania Night 2, much like Rhea, Io, and Bianca have tonight. And Drew was able to have a world title match at WrestleMania against Seth Rollins, one of the MVPs of last year's WrestleMania season. And Drew McIntyre's had that spotlight, but for some reason, he's not in that spotlight now. Damian Priest, other than cashing in the briefcase last year, he hasn't been entrusted with a huge WrestleMania match. And this is probably showing what he can do in a semi-main event status to where maybe at WrestleMania 42, when WrestleMania's gone to New Orleans again, then maybe it's different. Maybe we do have Damian Priest competing for the WWE Championship or the World Heavyweight Championship. By the way, want to shout out 700 of you viewing on Mouthing Off with Mike's Twitter. We want to shout out to you. More than 330 people streaming on our YouTube for Boom Broadcasting. Not sure the numbers on Facebook yet or Drew Code's YouTube channel. But this is more than we expected. Even last night, we're like, hey, let's get, X amount of people here and just hang out and have fun. But you guys make this much, much more enjoyable. By the way, shout out to Kaz, one of the people joining us. You guys can subscribe so you don't miss any of our content coming up. And we try to give you the best content possible, saying that Bianca will win. We are going to do predictions at the tail end of our episode before WrestleMania goes on air. Will says Drew's going to get the next title shot and would be a great heel for Cody to push him harder. Podcast me reminiscing about Mankind and The Rock on halftime heat for the Super Bowl back in his day. So here's what I want to ask you guys. So we have two different ways this could end. And William started to bring it up right here. You have two options. You could have Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest let this be the end-all, be-all, and the winner potentially challenge Cody Rhodes, potentially challenge Jey Uso. However, a draft or a brand split like works or whatever the case may be there. You could have them just move on after this street fight, or this could be the beginning of something great. Shawn, do you think this is the culmination of this feud, or is this just getting started between McIntyre and Priest tonight at WrestleMania?
Well, this should be the climax of it right here. Street fight on Mania in Vegas. Turn the house down. I'm like the guys. It should have been Falls Count anywhere in the building. I'm with them. Let's go out the strip and see them fight down the Las Vegas Strip. But due to probably some health reasons and concerns, safety reasons, and precautions, WWE doesn't want nobody in Vegas getting involved in the match. But
and sometimes what's walking around the streets too. So
right. So I think this should end it right here at Mania. You should not prolong this story. It's been a year-long build. Drew's on that redemption story of going back with everybody who's done him wrong or got over him from last year's Mania to this Mania. And I think this ends it for him and Damian. And Drew kind of starts shifting to a different direction, and Damian shifts to a different direction.
And so he's under the impression this is it. This is a storyline a year in the making. Wayne, are you under the same principle that this should just be the end of it, or do you think this feud just continues to get more intense?
I think this is the end of it. I mean, what better end than, like Shawn said, WrestleMania street fight? I think it'll be the end of this feud. I will say, because we talked about how they used to go out and you could pinfall on the streets and stuff like that. And as a viewer on television, that stuff's great. You know, like it's wonderful to see. But now that I've been to live shows, especially for those paying those tickets to be in WrestleMania, when you get those guys out of the ring and you have to watch it on the screen, just like we're all watching it at home, it's not as enjoyable. I mean, these people spend thousands of dollars to be there at WrestleMania. They deserve to watch a pinfall in the ring. That's just my opinion. Yeah, get it out, have some awesome spots, return to the ring and close it out. But I do think it's going to be the end all for this feud. And then I'm curious to see what they do with Damian Priest after this. If this feud doesn't continue, what does Damian Priest have to do with the future of his career? So I'm curious to see what happens there.
Yeah, there's a lot of directions they can go. Cody, they think it's the end tonight. Do you think it's the end or just the beginning? Because honestly, if you tell me for the next 3 months we get Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest, I'm still watching.
Well, that's what's tough, because I think there needs to be higher stakes than just animosity. I think there needs to be one of these two guys is going to get somewhat of a title push. Maybe they incorporate them in a triple threat, depending on who the challenger is. I mean, Jay just won his. Maybe this is something that will probably be on the docket or somewhere along the lines. But I think I don't mind seeing them put on several matches and, 5-star matches together, so to speak. But also, like, is it just to have a match, or are we putting some stakes behind it? Like, what is the end all be all of it? Not just a fancy stipulation at WrestleMania. I think there needs to be one of them getting a title push, the other one's like costing, and that continues to build the animosity. Not just, I don't like you, we're gonna have a wrestling match. I still don't like you, we're gonna have another WrestleMania match. I need to see more behind the reasoning behind it before I say, yeah, I can watch these guys go 3 more times. Sure, with a title involved somewhere along the way, I would agree to that.
Well, I think Priest eliminated McIntyre from the Royal Rumble.
Sure, which I can understand why we're having the street fight, because from at least my experience, normally stipulation matches are almost like the finality of said chapter. Like, yeah, usually that's like, okay, we're going to end it all right now. So for this not even to be a normal one-on-one, it's it's a stipulation kind of a thing. Maybe then it continues, but I don't think as regularly as, oh, I'm going to see you again at Backlash kind of a thing. It might be like later on down the line, but I don't think they'll continue it without some sort of higher stakes involved. Like, maybe like a number 1 contender bout would make more sense than just, oh, we're going to keep going. But I understand the idea behind this one is because Priest lost his McIntyre lost his title to Priest. Priest eliminated McIntyre. So there's that. And then what's after that?
Yeah. And I feel like if you just naturally look at the progression, whoever does come out of tonight or this feud in general, whatever direction they go to, will be getting a future, or probably the next WWE Championship match, whoever comes out on top of this feud. I wouldn't mind a trilogy, but at the same time, I guess it more depends on what they're looking at when it comes to the main event of WrestleMania weekend. John Cena, Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. Vern's already in the comments, hoping Cody wins. He does not want...
I will. Don't worry. I will. Don't worry.
Oh, we have Cody from Drew Code Sports Talk. He's getting in the ring. Maybe he gets in the ring with Randy Orton tonight. We'll talk about that here in just a second. Don't you worry. We're about 30 minutes away from WrestleMania, by the way. We will get you out on time so you guys can enjoy your WrestleMania even, just like we did yesterday when we did night 2 predictions. But Vern hopes Cody wins. Cody from Drew Code and Cody from Atlanta, Georgia, as the WWE Champion tries to keep John Cena away from a 17th World Championship. Guys, when this match was rumored months ago, I said this was a bad idea. You can't put your babyface champion, your quarterback, against John Cena because fans will want to see history tonight when John Cena wins the 17th world title. And then you turn John Cena heel, the thing that all the fans wanted. And I don't think fans have completely turned against Cody Rhodes, but my biggest fear tonight is we get WrestleMania 41 and John Cena comes out and fans are just wanting to witness history because they witnessed history last year with Cody finishing his story. And now they could witness history tonight, even with a heel John Cena, but it would be John Cena winning a record-breaking 17th world title. So there is a lot of hope within WWE that the fans root for Cody, but I just don't see that happening. Sean, are you worried at all on how the fans in Vegas will respond to this main event?
No, not at all, because they're going to get behind Cena. I mean, Cody's going to have his ones he's going to carry, but I think as this match progresses on, you're going to see them start gravitating towards Cena, and really you're going to see the Bret Stone Cold match again all over. Well, you know, Bret became the heel and Stone Cold became the face. Don't think you'll go that far with Cody and Cena, but you're going to see the fans start gravitating more to Cena because you're right. They want to see history made. As fans, when we pay to go to these shows, we want to say we were part of the night where Cena won the 17th title. I was in the building. So I think you're going to see them gravitate more to Cena as this match progresses on and start kind of booing Cody more as it progresses on.
And Wayne, I don't know if you remember back in AEW when fans started to turn on Cody, and Cody's like, I don't want to go heel. Fans could start turning on him tonight.
I think it's going to reminisce The Rock and Hollywood Hulk Hogan. You know, I think there's going to be moments where the fans are cheering and happy for both of them. But, you know, Hollywood Hulk Hogan was supposed to be the big heel against The Rock. And then all of a sudden people got that nostalgia feeling and Hulk got his point in and his usual, you know, stuff going on. I think we're going to see a situation where Cena gets a big pop in the middle of this and people start cheering him for sure. But I don't think it's going to take anything away from Cody. I think there's mutual respect and love there for both of these superstars. So I think it's going to be very similar to Rock and Hogan, where there's no losers as far as the fans' reactions.
Cody, that was a good callback by Wayne there. Rock Hogan. Do you think it's going to be that same electric atmosphere in your Raiders Allegiant Stadium?
So I was thinking the exact same thing right before Wayne said it. Yeah, this is reminiscing of that because here you have Cody Rhodes coming in as a champion. Rock didn't, but obviously Rock was red hot during that time. And then Hollywood Hulk Hogan was obviously brought back from WCW after they were acquired by WWE way back in the day. And this is kind of reminding me of that. I think the only thing that is slightly different, of course, is there's a title on the line. But I think what fans have not really accepted this John Cena heel turn is because obviously later last year, it was announced that this is John Cena's final WrestleMania. He's going to have final PLE. So people are cool with him turning heel. Like, I think they like the idea that, oh, we're going to see what he looks like as a heel. But at the same time, it's like, this is the last of John Cena I'm going to see wrestle. So they're appreciating the moment. So I do agree with Wayne in the sense of like, Cody Rhodes is probably get booed because you're trying to stop him from getting a record. But Cody Rhodes is just defending his title. And there you have John Cena here, who is trying to chase 17 to break Ric Flair's record. And he's trying to tell the fans of like, you made me do this. But fans are like, we still love you, John, even though he has kind of gaslit them as to why he does it. But I think this is very, very interesting. I'm very curious to see how the match is going to go. I don't know if it's going to be like a 30-minute like fight. Maybe it's going to be a little bit lesser than that because John Cena really hasn't had regular time in the ring. So I'm curious to see how far Cody carries him, or John Cena tells the story about carrying Cody in the ring, because at least the last time I remember seeing John Cena going for a title bout was against Roman Reigns a few years ago, and it didn't look the greatest. It was a lot of Roman carrying in that match, so I'm very curious to see how this one goes, but I'm very, very excited to see what transpires in all aspects of it, from in the ring to out of the ring. What are we going to see? I'm dying to see it in night 2 for sure.
That's a great point I want to touch on here in just a second, but I did see our subscriber count on Boom Broadcasting has jumped up to 513. So 2 of you went under the radar and subscribed without mentioning it in the comments. So I just want to go ahead and say, if you found us today during our live stream for WrestleMania's pre-show kickoff live stream, what I want you to do is comment, just say, hey, I'm new to the channel. Here's how I found you, and I've subbed. That way we can give you a shout out on air properly, because this is incredible support you guys are giving us. And we just want to say thank you. Cody, you brought up John Cena might have a little ring rust. And that's why everybody except Wayne was probably upset about Charlotte and Tiffany last night, because, I mean, Charlotte hasn't been in the ring in a prominent match. And I feel like John Cena the same. Like, we saw John Cena, 2 years ago against Austin Theory, and it was like, oh, okay. Like,
actually, I think it was sooner than that against Sokoa. I can't remember. It was a PLE. Crown Jewel, right?
So there was Austin Theory a couple years ago, WrestleMania 39. Between that and WrestleMania 40, it was Solo Sikoa. And like those last couple like marquee John Cena matches are like, they're kind of gross. I mean, they're not the best. Obviously, Elimination Chamber, you can hide behind all the other spots happening inside the Elimination Chamber. But John Cena won't be able to hide. And if you guys are expecting WrestleMania 22 against Triple H, or if you're expecting WrestleMania 23 against Shawn Michaels, this isn't the same John Cena. And I hate to be that guy, but this match might undeliver in the ring itself, but the story might not. What are you more intrigued by? Are you more intrigued by the actual in-ring action and them telling the story there? Or do you think there's going to be more hoopla outside of it? Maybe some interference, maybe some guest appearances that really mask John Cena's in-ring ability. How do you feel about that going, Wayne?
I don't know, man. I don't know if I want more hoopla. We've been getting plenty of hoopla lately, and again, this goes to my bias. I don't want to keep doing this every single time I talk, but I know WWE relies real heavily on hoopla and stuff. I don't know. I hope we just get a solid one-on-one match. I don't want the special stuff going on afterwards. I just want a decent one-on-one classic match that gives Cody, I don't know, I can't go there yet. We're not sharing our predictions, but just give us a good match. That's all.
Just give us a good match. Podcast Me wants a double turn where Cena goes face and Cody goes heel. Cody, I don't think that's the way to go either.
Yeah, no. That's a waste of a heel turn from John Cena. Like, what are we now going to turn him face just because he won the championship? Where's Cody going to go? Who's he siding with to turn heel? What reason? I don't know.
John Cena's not going to retire a heel.
No, I don't. I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah. The different story's coming.
Yeah.
Probably.
Oh, yeah. And I'll share what that redemption story is whenever I feel comfortable. But Shawn, do you expect? Because I mean, even last year, I mean, we got basically the Avengers Endgame in the ring. I mean, John Cena's coming out, the Undertaker's coming out. Even Stone Cold has mentioned, "Hey, maybe I'll be there to help Cody if he needs it." I mean, are we going to start relying on these legend appearances to get the crowd going for this main event?
I would hope not. You know, we got the hoopla last year. And I'm not gonna lie, I marked out for it. I thought it was great. You had the Undertaker, you had the Rock. Now, I would say tonight, the only hoopla I would like to see would be the Rock show up, such Cena has sold his soul to the Rock. So it would only be awkward to have the Rock show up tonight, but I don't think you need Stone Cold, the Undertaker, the Kane, the Daniel Bryan, and the list can go on and on and on. You don't need all that tonight. I would rather have a shorter match, good storytelling, with The Rock showing up, and that's all you get, and Cody finds a way to overcome that circumstance than to have what we had last year. I thought last year it was very nostalgic to do it, but, you know, don't let lightning strike twice again.
Don't let lightning strike twice again. Cody, what would you like to see?
I don't think we can have another match where everyone and their mother's uncle shows up and assists somebody. Very similar to the reason why even in WrestleMania 40, when Cody won, it was to go against, you know, Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, who had essentially, you know, helped keep Roman as the champion for the better part of 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. So realistically, that made sense to have all those guys make appearances to help Cody to overcome all that, because he couldn't do it in 39. This doesn't make any sense of why would you bring everybody out to combat against a guy that has only wrestled in 3 different events since he's announced his retirement, compared to the defending champion Cody, who's about to enclose on a year of being holding champion. So it just doesn't fit. Do I think that there will be something that continues a storyline or whatever? Sure. But to have everybody show up, might as well just had a battle royal then, if that's what you guys wanted to do. It would be much better to have, like, to Wayne and Shawn's credit, just have these two fight or wrestle and then see what happens from storytelling of that. But don't need to have all this outside interference or whatnot, because it just doesn't make any sense on the surface of it. Because if you start throwing out there whoever, Sami Zayn and then Jey Uso, like, what for? They haven't been in the part of the storyline at all. So why are they coming? I think that's why, like, to me, I wouldn't like that either.
Yeah. And here's the thing is, like, Cody was facing the Bloodline. Cody just said it made sense. Like, all the Bloodline, you know, Solo coming out, everybody's coming out. Jimmy's coming out, and Roman needed that help, but Cody needed help to fight them off because Seth was wronged. The Undertaker came out because why not? It's WrestleMania. But Cody needed a team to beat the team and the empire that Roman had built. If John Cena needs help back-to-back WrestleManias to be a aged John Cena who's outside of his prime, that makes your champion look weak. And you already made Gunther look weak last night, tapping to Jey Uso, and you don't want Cody Rhodes to look weak. Now, we are really close to getting to our predictions, so we can get you out of here on time. But before we do predictions, we haven't covered one match because this match isn't made official. It's Randy Orton bringing his boots laced up, and he's just hoping for an opponent. Kind of like that year where Seth Rollins was hoping for an opponent and got Cody Rhodes a few years ago, when John Cena was hoping to hear from The Undertaker, and then it was a squash match. There's so many things that could happen. We didn't really have a huge return or surprise or WrestleMania moment of that regard last night, because maybe they're saving it for night 2 with Randy Orton. So before we dive into these predictions, I want to get your prediction. Who, if anyone, does Randy Orton compete against? There's a lot of people rumored. Cody, what's your pick?
I got 2, but there's one I really want to happen. So the first one I think would be Rusev, because it's been rumored that he's back. I can see him making his return. That would make sense with Randy Orton. See how it all goes on WrestleMania. Put him back kind of in the in the inner workings when it comes to the roster. I think that would be very interesting. But that's not the one I want to happen. The second one I want to happen, and I really do, it does happen because I think it'll be very, very interesting, would be Randy Orton and Nick Aldis. I think that would be very interesting. Obviously, Randy has RKO'd Nick a couple of times already. He's even threatened to do a third one. Kind of undermines it. I think it would be a very good back and forth and very interesting. So I would actually like to see that one because there's truly nobody else that makes sense to go against Randy Orton at this time to even make it relative. I mean, maybe a third guy would be Carmelo Hayes because he won the Andre Giant Battle Royal, maybe. But even still, like Rusev and Nick Aldis being my first choice would probably be who I would guess and who I would hope happens as well.
Yeah, and you bring up Carmelo Hayes. I feel like that could be a letdown. Sean, you had the NWA title behind you, and Nick Aldis held that title for NWA's revamp, and he hasn't competed in a WWE ring. Is tonight the night?
Well, you feel like that. And, Mike, I went through every roster of every territory that WWE works with. I said, could it be somebody from AAA with WWE ties? I said, no, too quick, too soon. Could it be somebody from TNA? First guy I wanted to say was say his name. He will appear. I believe in Joe Hendry. But I said, why would you want to bring Joe Hendry to WrestleMania to kind of upstage Randy Orton because the popularity guy got, and he's the TNA champ. You don't want a TNA champ getting beat on your big platform because then when you return to favorite TNA, one of your guys got to go over their platform. So then I just thought about it. Why not bring the national treasure, Nick Aldis? People have not seen Nick Aldis wrestle, not unless you're guys like us that are guys that watched the NWA, watched All In when him and Cody went at it. So I think this would be a good way to introduce people to Nick Aldis as this guy is a for real wrestler that can go beyond being a general manager. So I'm with Cody on this one. I'm going Nick Aldis.
It could be the chance to even get him out of the SmackDown general manager role if he's able to have a really good match and people are like, oh, maybe we have some dream matches for Nick Aldis. But Wayne, again, you're the resident AEW guy. There's some rumors Phoenix debuted last night. Penta's debuting tonight at WrestleMania. Aleister Black, potentially not until this Friday SmackDown. And Cody mentioned formerly known as Miro, but Rusev in WWE could be the guy. Are you seeing any AEW guys, or are you actually down for Nick Aldis?
My pick was Rusev, but shocker, Goldberg. Duh.
Oh my God. No.
I don't need a Randy Orton squash match.
Wait. No, there are more than 400 people who's tuned in live for Boom Broadcasting's WrestleMania Kickoff show. 400. That's a record. And Wayne's about to say, the heck with all of y'all leave. You do not mention Goldberg coming in and squashing our Viper. How dare you?
Hey, either him or, someone we haven't seen who deserves a WrestleMania match, Chad Gable. So,
maybe it's Chad Gable. Now I wouldn't be opposed to Nick Aldis, obviously, but do you have him there long term? Podcast Smitty's jumping on this Goldberg train. I'm not. Do not put him on TV.
No.
Again, more than 400 of you, 413 who have tuned in to Boom's YouTube channel, more across Mount Off with Mike's Twitter, Drew Code's YouTube channel, Boom Broadcasting's Facebook page. We appreciate you. We're getting into our predictions now. It's going to be awesome. But I want to say, when Sean brought up AAA and I looked at the roster, technically Matt Riddle's been affiliated with AAA. Matt Riddle has time with Randy Orton. I would not be surprised if we get Randy Orton's best friend, Matt Riddle, showing up in just a complete shock swerve. I mean, people would go crazy for that, even if it is just a one-off. But maybe it's what Matt Riddle needs to prove that he is mature, and what Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn says about him isn't true. And this isn't true, by the way. Chad Gable did not wrestle last night. No. We're fact-checking the comments as we live stream right now on Boom Broadcasting. Chad Gable did not wrestle last night. He was not on the card. We don't know what WrestleMania you watched or what Raw rerun you did, but Chad Gable did not wrestle last night. But Randy Orton wants to wrestle tonight. Do you think Randy Orton wins? This is the start of our rapid fire predictions for WrestleMania Night 2. We got Randy Orton versus Mystery. Lock it in. Who wins? Wayne, I begin with you.
Randy Orton.
Against?
Rusev.
All right, he's got Randy Orton beating Rusev. Cody.
I got Randy Orton against Nick Aldis.
Randy Orton against Nick Aldis. And then Shawn.
Randy Orton, and I'm gonna change my pick. Zack Ryder. He was at the Hall of Fame show. He was there. He took a picture with Chelsea Green. A one off Matt Cardona could show up.
So is it Zack Ryder or Matt Cardona?
Oh, it's gotta be Zack Ryder.
Gotta be Zack Ryder. Cody, I don't know if you said Randy or Aldis winning that match.
Randy winning.
I got Randy Orton. And I'll be different. I will go Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle, Vegas guy too. So it makes sense. Randy Orton does beat Matt Riddle though. And that will be how WrestleMania goes. Next, we have the match that is opening up the show. We have the triple threat, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Bianca Belair. We ended last night with a triple threat. We begin with the triple threat, Ripley, Sky, Belair. Shawn, who's walking out with the women's world title?
She's undefeated at WrestleMania. She stays undefeated. Bianca Belair.
He's got Bianca staying undefeated like the Undertaker. Cody.
I got Sky retaining because she's the underdog amongst these giants. And I think there's going to be a little assistance that helps that out. But I got Sky in this one.
Okay, we're 1-for-1. Wayne, are you going to make your daughter proud about Rhea Ripley?
Hopefully she's not watching me right now. Io Sky retains.
Wow. Okay. I feel like I want to say Bianca, but she just has so much loose ends to tie up with Naomi and Jade Cargill. Give me Rhea Ripley. And of course we got another Bianca right there from Doughboy, but give me Rhea Ripley, who was wronged out of the women's world title, was stripped of it last year, and she gets back into good graces and wins tonight. The other women's tag team match, Lyra Valkyria teams up with somebody versus Liv and Raquel. I want to know who is Liv's tag team partner. Is it Bayley? Is it Becky? Is it Alexa? Is it somebody else? And then who wins this match? Cody?
I'm going to go with Lyra and her special guest partner being Becky.
Okay. And they win?
Yep, I have them winning.
All right. We got new tag team champions. Wayne, is that how it goes?
No, Liv and Raquel retains, and Lyra and Becky loses, which is going to lead to Lyra and Becky feuding.
Wow. Shawn, how do you see this one going down?
Same way Liv and Raquel retain DQ. Lyra and Becky start their feud. Same thing.
Wow. By DQ? You're having a DQ finish at WrestleMania?
DQ.
Wow. I got
That's some Vince McMahon writing there.
That is some Vinnie Mac. That is some Vinnie Mac stuff, by the way. We just crossed 420 viewers on 420, where this is April 20th. Happy Easter, by the way. That is pretty cool. This is a record for Boom Broadcasting, a live stream. We got 10 minutes left till WrestleMania, and I want to tell you that Bayley does make it out, and she does team with Lyra, and they win. They win the tag titles. Just kidding. I'm not going to be that guy. It is going to be Becky returning, and she'll be teaming with Lyra Valkyria, and they will win the tag team titles. So Lyra's going to have 2 belts, just like Becky once upon a time had 2 belts. And then we have Doughboy saying Lyra and Jade Cargill.
Oh.
He did bring up earlier in the show that Jade Cargill would make sense, saying it wouldn't be a reach if they put Jade in that spot. She isn't cool with Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, so why not put Jade in that spot after last night, and then Jade's walking out with some gold. So shout out to Doughboy. 4-way tag or 4-way match. Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio. It's every man for himself as they face against off Penta and the Intercontinental Champion Braun Breaker. Who walks out as Intercontinental Champion, Shawn?
Oh, they're going to cut off the stream right now. Dirty Dom. It's time.
It's time to push Dirty
time.
Dom, whether the other Michael likes it or not. Cody, do you like it?
I don't think it's Dirty Dom, although I like the pick. I think it's actually going to be Penta because of the WWE's acquisition of AAA. I think they're going to want to get in the good graces of the Luchador. So give me Penta to bring home the Intercontinental title.
Wow, Wayne, do you see the title changing hands like these guys, or does Braun Breaker retain?
Braun Breaker retains.
Wow. Now I could be that guy. And I could be like, oh, there's 4 of us, and then let's all pick somebody else. But I'm not picking Finn Balor. And watch, he's going to be the one who wins. But it is Dirty Dom's time. It is Dirty Dom's time. We want Dominic Mysterio, just like Doughboy, just like Shawn. It is time for Daddy Dom to win his first title and his first WrestleMania match. And we have AJ Styles and Logan Paul. Does the veteran in one of his last WrestleManias come out victorious, or does Logan Paul, the Maverick, depress the entire Vegas crowd? Wayne, what happens?
Give me AJ Styles.
He's got AJ. Shawn.
Give me the Maverick. Logan Paul.
Cody, split us up.
I hate to do it because I don't want to pick, but I think AJ is going to let him go over and propel Logan on a title run, but I don't want to say it, but I think Logan's going to go in this one.
Well, I don't say this because I don't want Logan. I'm saying this because AJ Styles has gotten a new side of him unlocked. He now is the Georgia Bulldog thanks to his work with Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross also was a factor in Seth Rollins' turnhill last night, by the way. You need to check social media for that. Okay? Go back into the archives. I'm sure it's floating around there. But Karrion Kross helped Seth Rollins turn heel. Karrion Kross is helping AJ Styles mold into this new character that needs to be serious for his final few years in WWE. AJ Styles wins and might be one of the people next in line for a world title opportunity, much like these guys, Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. It's a Sin City street fight. This might end in the streets. This might end with street trash going over the Celtic Warrior. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? Priest, McIntyre, Cody, who you got?
This is going to be a good one. I'm going to go with McIntyre. I think he's going to pull it out. And I like the aggression he's going to bring and the heat he's going to draw from it. Give me McIntyre.
He's got McIntyre. Shawn.
My daughter's watching and she just walked to the door, so I know what I got to say. Give me McIntyre. That's what she wants.
Hey, you got to keep the daughter happy. Wayne, what's your pick?
McIntyre.
McIntyre in a clean sweep right here. Guys, this is one of the matches I was going back and forth with when I did night 2 picks with Champ Pryor on Drop the Mic Wrestling podcast this past week. Guys, I am like torn on this. I know we got to keep it rapid fire so we can get out for WrestleMania Night 2. And I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to go Damian Priest. That I feel like Drew McIntyre could win and deserves a win, but Damian Priest getting a win at this stage of his career could also throw Drew McIntyre off the deep end, and we might not be finished with that rivalry. But we finished WrestleMania. John Cena trying to get his 17th WWE Championship by any means necessary against the quarterback of today, Cody Rhodes. This is a generational matchup. Rhodes, Cena. Who do you have, Wayne?
I was leaning Cena, but I'm going Rhodes strictly because of the title changes that happened yesterday. So give me Rhodes.
He's got Rhodes retaining. Shawn.
I toss a turd on this one. I'm sticking with my pick, Cena.
He's got Cena. Cody, you're, again, the one to split the tie. It's a coin flip.
If not now, then when? Give me Cena.
If not now, then when? Give him Cena. It might be never. Because if John Cena beats Cody Rhodes tonight, then you just destroyed the star that you made over the last 3 years. Give me the American Nightmare getting all of Vegas to go, whoa, as Cody Rhodes retains his WWE Championship. And that is how WrestleMania will end, because Not only did I say so, but Doughboy said so as well. Podcast Me saying, great job, Boom. Welcome to Boom, all the new subscribers. We did get new subscribers today. Our count is up to 514. So we just got another subscriber since last time we checked. We are doing great content. We just have fun like this. We're going to do more live streams as we move forward, including first round, night 1 of the NFL draft this Thursday. You want to come join the Boom Boys for the NFL draft because that is going to be crazy and very, very unpredictable. So if you're an NFL fan, be sure to subscribe so you know when we live stream on Boom Broadcasting for the first round of the NFL draft. And we're going to be talking about WrestleMania and the NFL draft all week. WrestleMania in the rear view, and with the NFL draft ahead, we got all your content. We got a lot more shows as well, whether that be Out of Pocket, Hoops and Helmets, Drop the Mic. Sideline Savants will be returning this year. Wrestling of Destiny, It Stinks. We got Dugout Debrief. I mean, we have Quick Hits from Podcast Me. We have 3 from Deep. I mean, we have so many shows that I probably forgot like 6 of them because these guys are working their tails off to get you the best content possible. And I couldn't do tonight without Wayne. I couldn't do tonight without Shawn. I couldn't do tonight without Cody. I couldn't do tonight without 435 of you joining us on Boom Broadcasting's YouTube page, a record for the channel for a live stream. And who knows how many people saw on Twitter? Who knows how many people saw on Drew Code's YouTube? Who knows how many people saw it on Boom's Facebook page? But guys, we appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you for making WrestleMania weekend this great. And we hope that you enjoy WrestleMania Night 2. It's over this weekend until we start the new year tomorrow for Monday Night Raw. But for Wayne, for Shawn, for Cody, this is Michael Davis signing off on Boom Broadcasting and WrestleMania. We hope you have an amazing night in store for you. And just go grab some food and let's go turn on Peacock and let's watch some WrestleMania.